Nigerian Times. That's in the person of Dr. Victor Omololu Olunloyo. We'll also be delving into the issue of the NYSC and the Minister of Education, his pronouncement saying it's possible for us to have a 2-year tenure for the National Youth Service Corps. We'll be looking at issues surrounding these discussions and many more. Well, once again, welcome to the Dominion Broadcast Group. This is Dominion TV. I am Chike Obogo. Well, I won't be doing this alone. I'll be introducing my guest in a bit. But before then, let's reel out this program as we start. Maiden edition of the agenda on this dial. You can watch us live on YouTube at Dominion Broadcast Group, Dominion TV on TV and on the YouTube, and then on Facebook it's Dominion Broadcast Group, and it's on Twitter, it's on the app X is Dominion Cast at Dominion Cast. You catch us up on Line TV at Dominion TV. Yes, we have the Dominion Broadcast on YouTube again. On Instagram is Dominion Broadcast. On the app X, Dominion Cast. On Facebook, Dominion Broadcast. And on TikTok, it's Dominion Broadcast. Those are social media handles where you can catch us live and direct. We're broadcasting here at Yagokun in Ibadan. Well, we'll go on this break. When we come back, we'll delve into the crux of today's discussion. Stick around. Don't go away.
And lifestyle shows that matter, we have got it all.
Stay ahead with the latest trends, inspiring success stories, and must-watch TV moments only on Dominion Television.
Join a community that celebrates excellence, innovation, and African storytelling at its finest.
Don't miss out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on all our social media platforms, and watch Dominion Television today.
Welcome to Dominion Broadcast House, your channel of choice, with the best stories and the best songs, where inspiration meets entertainment.
From powerful stories to thought-provoking conversations, we bring you content that informs, entertains, and transforms.
Catch top-notch entertainment, including movies, talk shows, and insightful programs curated just for you.
Looking for cutting-edge documentaries, exclusive interviews, and lifestyle shows that matter? We have got it all.
Stay ahead with the latest trends, inspiring success stories, and must-watch TV moments only on Dominion Television.
Join a community that celebrates excellence, innovation, and African storytelling at its finest.
Don't miss out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on all our social media platforms, and watch Dominion Television today.
All right, welcome back from that break. We're still live here on Dominion TV, and it's the agenda at this time. Yes, I told you what we'll be talking about this morning, and we are looking at the issue of the former governor of Oyo State who passed on sadly yesterday morning, and it's Dr. Victor Omololu Olunloyo. I'll be telling you more about him. Who is Victor Omololu Olunloyo? Yes, who is here? Well, let's former governor of Oyo State who passed away at the age of 89 few days to his 90th birthday celebrations is the person we're talking about. Now, let's go straight to him, and I'll be turning to my guest in a bit, where we'll be looking at some of the achievements of him. Okay, he reportedly died in the early hours of Sunday, and he was admitted to the University College Hospital in Ibadan in 1953. Dr. Olunloyo secured his A-levels privately in 1954 and went on to the University of St. Andrews, Scotland's oldest university, which is now about 600 years old, where he was from 1955 to 1961. His star shone there most brilliantly, and there he took a civil and mechanical engineering degree in 1957, then made a first-class honors in mechanical engineering in June 1958, and a PhD in mathematics in December 1960 from St. Andrews University in 1961. His thesis was on the numerical determination of the solutions of eigenvalue problems of the Stern-Liouville type. He published several other papers on number theory and applied mathematics. He was a winner of 5 undergraduate class gold medals out of a possible 6, and the University Prize, as well as the British Association for the Advancement of Science Prize. Shell appointed Dr. Victor Omololu Olunloyo for an oil job in Holland in 1957, which he declined, interestingly. The Queen of England then invited him to Buckingham Palace as a distinguished Commonwealth student. Dr. Victor Omololu Olunloyo was appointed Commissioner for Economic Development for the Western region in 1962 at the age of 27 in the cabinet of then Dr. Moses Majeko Dume. He was reappointed when Colonel Adeyinka Adebayo was appointed military governor of Western Nigeria. Dr. Omololu Olunloyo was Commissioner for Community Development and Education twice. The special duties, local government and chieftaincy affairs in Oyo State, which includes the crowning of 2 Nigerian monarchs, namely the Alaafin of Oyo, the late Alaafin of Oyo, Oba Lamidi Adeyemi III, and the late Shoun of Ogbomoso, Oba Oyewumi. He was once appointed chairman of the Western Nigerian Development Corporation, the precursor of the present Odua Group of companies. Dr. Omololu Olunloyo in 1983 ran for governor in the old Oyo State on the National Party of Nigeria, the NPN. He defeated the incumbent, the late Bola Ige of the UPN, that's the Unity Party of Nigeria, assuming office in October 1983. His term ended 3 months later when General Muhammadu Buhari took over and dismissed him on December 31, 1983. He was a scholar, statesman, organist of St. David's Anglican Church, Kudeti, Ibadan, and an Ibadan aristocrat of Owu ancestry. Dr. Olunloyo, who held the traditional titles of Balogun of Oyo and Otun Bobashewa of Ife, was a respected statesman with a distinguished public service career. He was the first rector of both the Polytechnic Ibadan and Kwara State Polytechnic, among several other notable appointments. Joining me on the agenda this morning is a public affairs analyst and a developmental researcher, John Izuchukwu. John, it's good to have you on the agenda today on Dominion TV.
Chike, thank you for having me, and good morning, Nigeria.
All right, yes, we have Dr. Victor Omololu Olunloyo, who passed on yesterday. Well, an erudite scholar, a politician, elder statesman, gone. Nigeria will be missing him, right?
Very true. We celebrate the life well spent by the statesman, you know, because he exemplified an uncommon leadership qualities. And you will see within the short time he was in that office, one of the things he prioritized was education. And that shows you where his priorities lies. And even though he attempted doing a lot of things which he was never able to execute because his tenure was short-lived. But of course, you will see the level of integrity which he displayed, and is a testament to the fact that even after he left office, he remained very modest in his lifestyle and in all he does till he passed on. We celebrate him, and we also congratulate the people of Oyo State for hosting such a great human being that walked the surface of the earth at this time. And one thing we should learn from him, you know, I remember, you know, seeing some videos of him before he passed on. You could see that he lived a very modest life. Leadership opportunity, it's an opportunity to continue to better the lives of people. If you have a privilege of leading people, you should be able to use that opportunity to turn things around. And we've seen that if he had more time within his space, he would have done much more than what he did.
One good thing about, or one surprising thing about him is, even at his age, he's highly cerebral. You know, he could remember his mathematics formula. He could remember his admission number even in the secondary school. When he got into the secondary school, he remembered most of his classmates and even his age mates. Of course. And then you want to ask again, why was he undertapped? Was it that he wasn't, his knowledge wasn't harnessed well for the development of Oyo State? Yes. And even Nigeria at large? I
would say that, you know, Nigeria is a country where the best brains are not given opportunities. Because you would see a man who made a first class. I mean, and those were the days where it was on merit. You could not just buy your way through such results. And you will see his goal was to really deliver developmental projects to the people at the time. There was no intention to acquire more than necessary for himself and for his family. And so you could see him live that life until he died. So he engaged his mind actively. Even after, you know, power was taken from him, he was still productive all his life. He made comment on national issues. He made comment on state issues. So he was a statesman indeed. He was a statesman indeed.
You see, when you say one is a statesman in Nigeria, it goes beyond talking about national issues, advising. You know, why is it that the government itself is not harnessing or tapping into the wealth of knowledge of these people? Because if you look at the life and times of Chief Edwin Clark and Pa Ayo Adebanjo, the likes of them, these titans are gone. Do we have anything we will say government has learned from them? And then what is the succession plan for all these people that are living the polity at this time? 2025, a year where the likes of Yekin Adeojo gone, Pa Ayo Adebanjo gone, we have Chief Edwin Clark gone, and now Omololu Olunloyo gone again.
You know, it's 1 year we have to remember most of the time when we talk about those who have shaped history in Nigeria. I mean, you've just mentioned a whole lot of them, and you cannot talk less of a man like Chief Adebanjo. I mean, that man was an icon. He was an icon. His ideologies are profound. For me, you see, the actual definition of a statesman is not in acquisition of wealth. It's not in taking power using every means available. It is in your ideology. It is in your capacity to build a society where everyone is tolerated, where justice is available, a society where we could live as sane people. I mean, what's the barest minimum? I mean, what should be available for everybody? If you have opportunity to lead a people and you're able to make things available such that the child of that bricklayer, the child of a mechanic can afford to aspire to be something in such a society because you have built an environment where their potential can also be, you know, harnessed. That's a statement. It's not people who just come into power and you arrogate power to themselves and, you know, amass wealth that are not necessary for a human being.
You know, he became prominent at the age of 27, where he got into active governance and administration. Now, today, at 27, youths are still struggling to even get into the polity. Where did we miss it? What's the X factor?
Of course, there are various variables to that. Because the younger generation is quick to blame the older generation. At 27 today, get a young Nigerian, put him in an office. He does not know what to do. He will not even have the capacity to solve practical problems, apart from the fact that he is overtaken with greed. Because, of course, the older generation has set an agenda, has set a pace for which it is how much you have that determines your societal status and the respect you are given. But at that time, it was intellectualism. People were given to studying. People were given to, thinking. You see people like Chief Enaoro championing a cause, a national cause for that matter. You see people like the Ezekiel of this world, the Obafemi of this world. Those guys were thinkers. Is today not the case with us? The dynamics of our world has taken over, from social media to several, distraction here and there. We don't have thinkers like that. However, if we have a serious elite class, we can actually begin to groom people, younger people, that we begin to do what we claim we know. But today, you will not do that because the elite class want to keep their space. However, Chike, if you check, most of these elite, guys in Nigeria have sent their children to the best schools. So that children, if you engage them, they're intelligent people. They can do what their fathers or their parents are doing.
But what's the problem? So
the problem is the average Nigerian, you and I, must wake up to empower ourselves enough. You see, nobody assumes leadership by chance. There must be consistent, deliberate effort towards making a change. So you don't just wake up every morning and just loaf around and expect that one day you'll be made an essay to the governor. You must bring something transformative to the table. So those are the issues. So we must understand the fact that building a society where things will work, it will mean that a lot has to be done on reforming our educational system so that people can actually begin to value knowledge. No society will move forward beyond the level of knowledge that its people are producing. And so bad for us. Today, we are faced with the issue of brain drain. It's a sad story. So the little we're able to do, we're able to gather, people were able to train, then they move elsewhere and go better those societies. So a lot has to be done.
A lot has to be done. Well, still talking about the issue of Dr. Victor Omololu Olunloyo on this dial. Well, we go on a break. When we come back, more talking points. NYSC and its brouhaha. What is happening with the National Youth Service Corps? The Minister of Education has said we may be looking at having 2 years. 2 years, yes. 2 years as a Youth Service Corps assignment in Nigeria. Will that be feasible? We'll talk more on that after this break. Stick around, don't go away.
Welcome to Dominion Broadcast House, your channel of choice, with the best stories and the best songs, where inspiration meets entertainment.
From powerful stories to thought-provoking conversations, we bring you content that informs, entertains, and transforms.
Catch top-notch entertainment, including movies, talk shows, and insightful programs curated just for you.
Looking for cutting-edge documentaries, exclusive interviews, and lifestyle shows that matter? We have got it all.
Stay ahead with the latest trends, inspiring success stories, and must-watch TV moments only on Dominion Television.
Join a community that celebrates excellence, innovation, and African storytelling at its finest.
Don't miss out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on all our social media platforms, and watch Dominion Television today.
All right, welcome back. Still on the agenda this morning. The Minister of Education, Olatunji Alausa, has called for the extension of the mandatory National Youth Service Corps scheme from 1 to 2 years. Alausa stated this on Friday when the Director General of NYSC, Brigadier General Olakunle Nofew, paid him a courtesy visit in his office in Abuja. According to a statement posted on NYSC's official Facebook page, the minister also called for the expansion of the skill acquisition and entrepreneurship development training program for corps members. The minister also advocated for the extension of national service from 1 to 2 years, with expansion of NYSC skill acquisition and entrepreneurship development training program content for corps members. This morning, we'll also be looking at this. The NYSC Bruhaha. John Izuchukwu is still in the studio. You heard what, you follow the story of the NYSC and the Minister of Education talking about having an extension of the scheme for 2 years instead of the mandatory 1 year. Many questions begging for answers. First of all, 2 years. Or let's say, has the NYSC fulfilled its billing for establishment? And secondly, is it long overdue? Is 2 years feasible? Talking about skill acquisition, are we not looking at how we could revive our trade centers and have more people delve into trade than having a prolonged NYSC where you have youth corpers after 4 years, 5 years in school, coming out to also say, oh, we're going to learn a skill or two for 2 years?
Yeah, you see, the question we should be asking is, you know, when people come into, you know, appointed office, they seem to not get connected to the reality of things on ground. You know, they seem to believe in a glass house. They are disconnected from what's happening. You ask yourself, the national integration, which we anticipated when NYSC was formed, have we achieved that today? Nigeria is far more divided than ever. People now redeploy at will to their home state.
Yeah.
Because one, life is more important than service to your nation. Because you will die in the course of serving your nation, and your nation does not even bat an eye that you have died. You're not so important that your country will do anything for you even after death. In active service as an NYSC member, as a corps member. So, for me, NYSC has not achieved its purpose.
But did it achieve it in the past?
Maybe, you know, maybe at the early days when we had Patriot in that scheme. But today, my personal opinion, people are making a lot of money from NYSC.
How?
From the person sewing the khaki to the person supplying the shoe to the person supplying the vest is a huge money market for certain person.
Value chain system.
Exactly. And so if somebody is telling you, let's extend it, a lot of proposals must have been on his table. They've looked at it, and I tell you, Chike, don't take Nigerian politicians to be fooled. Those guys are smart guys. There's enough analysis that has been on ground for them to come up to say, let's make it 2 years. But however, what will you achieve in 2 years that you have not achieved in a year all along? If you had made significant progress in transforming the life of these young people such that they leave NYSC and go become self-employed, so that the training that is not given to them while on campus, they are able to get, using this 1 year to get that, and then they go out and become more productive to themselves. So we cannot be bargaining, oh, let's make this work better by adding a year to it. But you have done nothing really worthy of extending NYSC scheme for 1 more year. Again, look at it from this angle. Plus, you know, those who attend federal universities and state universities with all the strikes, you are not certain of graduating very early in life if you don't get to school on time. It means that there are certain jobs in the same country where age will screen you out. So adding 2 years to your maybe 30 years or 28 years or 29 years, you know, spending on campus, you're already screened out. You may be jobless for the rest of your life.
Well, I get what you're saying, considering the issue of number of years of experience and then the age of entry.
I did a 4 years course and I spent over 6 years. Not because I failed. Strike met us there. All of so a lot of issues. So if you now add 2 years with that, it means that by the time you're living in NYSC, you're on your way above
to educational or to labor menopause.
Exactly. Okay. And then you ask yourself, to what end is this NYSC? Now, is the government who is saying we don't have enough money to fund several infrastructural projects? They have money for NYSC. I mean, they should be realistic. They should face the issues and deal with it.
There has been this discussion, this back and forth of a proposed scrapping of the scheme. Are you in support of that?
Well, I am not in support of that because, you see, we have a nation and we must do everything possible to build a country that we'll call our own. We are going through a process. We'll keep fighting until we get Nigeria to work. We need a lot of this conversation. You know, people moving from one place to another. Integrating gradually, albeit very insignificant. We must continue that until we're able to achieve what we want as a people. I think that NYSC may not have accomplished what it set out to do at the beginning. But when you look at it from the broad spectrum, you'll find out that in one way or the other, some young people have never left their state. NYSC was the first time they visited another state. So, do you understand? I know young Yoruba guys who have left Southwest here and they went to the East. I know some Easterners who want to, I just want to know how it looks like in the South, in Southwest. And they also come here. And then, you see, you learn one or two things. Some of them end up marrying, you know, non-tribal and all of that. So, it may not have achieved in its entirety its purpose. But it fosters at least some measure of our ethnic relationship in a way. It still gives that room where people can...
It gives room for national cohesion.
Cohesion, you know, albeit in a very insignificant way. If we continue it, maybe restructuring the NYSC scheme, maybe doing something new.
Yeah, making it, extending it for 2 years is part of the restructuring.
I think...
And then if security is provided across the nation...
It's an ambition taken too far. It's not necessary.
An ambition taken too far.
Let's consolidate on the 1 year first.
On the 1 year?
And make active use of it.
Well, another school of thought is now that 77,000 is being paid to youth corps members per month for a year. Would that same 77,000 go across board for another 2 years?
Yes, I think so, because the government has money.
The government has money?
The money taken from the...
But how to spend it is the problem.
Is the problem. The money gotten from subsidy is a lot. Governors are in serious money. There's a lot of money. It's just that the masses may be suffering. As they have advised us to continue to endure. A time is going to come, things are going to change. And we don't know if it's when Nigerians are dead and the things will start changing. But in any case, let's give them the benefit of the doubt, because anybody proposing this must have also checked the financial implication for doing that. So I believe personally the government has money to fund it.
Well, the government has money to fund the NYSC. That's coming from John Izuchukwu here. We're still looking at the NYSC statement from the Minister of Education, who says that youth corps, the scheme, should be extended for 2 years. That's what we're getting from the Minister of Education. That's Alausa there, Honorable Minister Alausa there. Well, hopefully, in the next edition of the agenda, we'll be able to open the phone lines for you to share your thoughts on some of the things we're talking about this morning. However, you can send us your messages via the app X. It's at Dominion Cast, at Dominion Cast. Yes, our social media handles. Yes, it's something you should be looking at this time. We could read out your tweets on the program this lovely Monday morning. Remember, the agenda will be on your screen Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. You don't want to miss it, because we'll be looking at several issues. We'll be setting agenda for government. Well, I'll be reading out our social media handles where you could also send us messages that I'll be reading out on the program this morning. I know some tweets are there already, which I'll be reading out. On the app X is at Dominion Cast, at Dominion Cast on the app X, at Dominion Cast. If you're following the conversation, at Dominion Cast. On YouTube, you can drop your comments on YouTube at Dominion Broadcast, at Dominion Broadcast, and on Instagram at Dominion Broadcast, on Facebook at Dominion Broadcast, and on TikTok at Dominion Broadcast. Remember, messages are what we'll be reading out on this program this morning. We're looking at two major issues: the life and times of the former governor of Oyo State, that's Dr. Victor Omololu Olunloyo, and also we're looking at the NYSC scheme, what the minister is saying. Well, let's go on YouTube. Let's go on YouTube this morning, and then we'll be getting this here.
Where inspiration meets entertainment.
From powerful stories to thought-provoking conversations, we bring you content that informs, entertains, and transforms.
Catch top-notch entertainment, including movies, talk shows, and insightful programs curated just for you.
Looking for cutting-edge documentaries, exclusive interviews, and lifestyle shows that matter? We have got it all.
Stay ahead with the latest trends, inspiring success stories, and must-watch TV moments only on Dominion Television.
Join a community that celebrates excellence, innovation, and African storytelling at its finest.
Don't miss out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on all our social media platforms, and watch Dominion Television today.
Welcome to Dominion Broadcast House, your channel of choice, with the best stories and the best songs, where inspiration meets entertainment.
From powerful stories to thought-provoking conversations, we bring you content that informs, entertains, and transforms.
Catch top-notch entertainment, including movies, talk shows, and insightful programs curated just for you.
Looking for cutting-edge documentaries, exclusive interviews, and lifestyle shows that matter? We have got it all.
Stay ahead with the latest trends, inspiring success stories, and must-watch TV moments only on Dominion Television.
Join a community that celebrates excellence, innovation, and African storytelling at its finest.
Don't miss out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on all our social media platforms, and watch Dominion Television today.
Welcome back from that break. We had to take that short break. Yes, still discussing the major issues on the agenda this morning, and it's still Dominion TV on on YouTube. You can watch us live on YouTube. Yes, John Izuchukwu, before we went on that break, we're looking at the NYSC scheme and matters arising within the NYSC. Now let's come to national issues, still within the scheme. Well, are you surprised that the Minister of Education really, some have said from the comments that there is this lack of agenda from the ministry? Is this what we should be looking at this time? What is it that, given an appraisal of the minister in the past few months that they were just inaugurated, what agenda are we looking at for the Minister of Education that he's not even looking at, talking about NYSC in 2 years?
Yes. Let me also say that it may be too early for us to evaluate him. But looking at the current state of Nigeria educational system, you would expect that the president would appoint a very serious-minded person. So I will use that word very carefully because we want to take some time to look at what he's doing, and then because you cannot really predict development when education is not strengthened. It means that as a people, as a country, we're going nowhere. So one will expect that the president knows him too well, that he has capacity to deliver in terms of reshaping and redirecting the focus of Nigeria's current educational condition. I believe that if we give him some time, we may be able to know what he has in stock. For instance, resolving the long-standing ASU issue will be one major thing that this government could achieve that will give Nigeria educational system, we position it in the right direction. But let's not preempt him. Let's allow him do what he feels is the right thing. Then we can begin to take on those policies and begin to analyze them and look at them, how it benefits the ordinary Nigerian. But at the moment, maybe based on proposals brought to him, or as far as this NYSC scheme is concerned, he is also looking at it. Because you also have to know that there's an act that established the NYSC scheme. If there's going to be amendment, it's going to take through a process. It's not something he has the powers to do by fiat. It will have to go through.
It has to pass through the National Assembly.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I do not think that it will say through, because a lot of people have already had issues with the management of that scheme.
All right, moving away from the NYSC scheme and the minister's statement, something interesting came up yesterday in Nigeria, and it's what we're looking at, where there's this list of ambassadors, proposed or prospective ambassadors, where you have the likes of the former governors of Enugu State, Ugwanyi. We also have the former governor of Abia State, Ikpazu. Also, Shehu Sani, senator, former Senator Shehu Sani, former representative of Kaduna State in the Senate. One name that came up again that became so interesting is the name of Rino Omokri. Yes, Rino Omokri's name came up on that list. Well, according to what I have here, the federal government has commenced the screening process for candidates nominated for diplomatic roles in a bid to fill the vacant roles for its 76 embassies and 22 high commissions. Well, nominees have been asked to report to the DSS offices nearest to them for security checks. Some have reportedly been contacted to provide personal education and work history. Well, Femi Fani-Kayode is also a part of that list, is on the list. Also, the former deputy governor of Lagos State, Femi Pedro is also on that list. Although it hasn't been made public, the full list, however, sources from the presidency are saying that the likes of former presidential aide to the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, that's Reno Mokri, is also on the list. Well, looking at the issue right now, background checks are being carried out, and you have the issue of the DSS trying to check out their credentials, trying to check out their records, if they have criminal records. But I'll ask this question: is this not a waste of resources? These are people who have picked up posts in government before. What educational check are you carrying out? Didn't you check it when they were sworn in as senators, when they were sworn in as ministers? What are we doing now? Is it not long overdue for us to have ambassadors for Nigeria?
You see, Nigeria is what it is, and
so when
I say that, I mean I feel pained that the current political elite have decided to continue to keep themselves within the space of power, and once again it will call to question the seriousness of this government, because Ikpeazu is a complete failure in all terms. I mean, I take responsibility for that comment, for that statement. If you, I frequently state, I mean, he is reputed to be one of the least performing governors in his entire Southeast region when he was in government. So that same man who has no capacity to transform his state is not going to be representing the entire nation somewhere, because your ambassador is your image maker anywhere in the world. There should be minimum character criteria for people to represent 250 plus million Nigerians. For me, this is just a way to compensate some political allies.
Oh, are you saying this is appointment by compensation?
It's just a way to compensate some political. Reno Mokri, we knew where he stood all along. We knew what he wanted all along. He's a jobber. He needed something to do. All along he's been playing to the gallery and then singing the praise of the government, of the president. Even when the president is wrong, he will never say anything wrong with the president action, and he kept all because he needed this ambassadorial position. This is just to inform Nigerians. They've decided what they will do about it. And that's why we must all be careful how we manage this democracy. So that you don't kill this democracy.
You're saying you're questioning the character of these individuals. Are you also looking at
Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi of Enugu State? What was his record? What were his achievements as a governor?
But these are part of the G5 governors.
That's the point.
The G5 governors are supported.
It's part of the deal to settle them. They spent a lot of money and all of that during the election, and they've not been given anything. And now it's time for this president to. Wike has been given something now, so they need something too, just to compensate them. It's not going to drive Nigeria out of where we are. It's just so unfortunate that our major problem, as Achebe will put it, is leadership. Is leadership. We are misplacing priorities. We are putting the wrong persons in the right positions, and you will not get any better results. You won't get any better results.
What do you see about Femi Fani-Kayode on the ambassadorial list?
Yes, to be fair, Femi Fani-Kayode is a smart guy. He's very outspoken. He's a lawyer and very well trained, well read. But of course, he has his personal issues. He has some issues that are peculiar to him, But I also think that he may want to be the good boy at this point to, redeem his image and then be able to speak to national issues of interest to Nigeria. Because an ambassador is supposed to speak for Nigeria, canvass for Nigeria, represent Nigeria, advance Nigeria cause in that country. You should not be there, and then it's so unfortunate. People who are not even patriots, because no patriot will be given a position for 8 years and you're not able to bring development to the table. These are not patriots. These are not people that if you ask Nigerians, do you want them to represent you? No, I tell you the truth, if you put it to vote, they will not win. They will fail, woefully, because I will not personally say somebody like Ugwuanyi to represent me. Right? No mockery. I mean, this is not social media thing. This is not going there and then you are always singing the praise of your paymaster. You should be very objective. And I've not seen that with this man called Reno Mockery. He's always, everything he does is targeted towards his own personal interests.
Many people have said, especially attributed Reno Mockery to Ajib, as any government in power.
That's the point. He has no ideology. He has no philosophy. It's just whatever is available I'll grab it. And people like that are dangerous. Because they are dangerous. You can't work with them for long. If he gets something better tomorrow, he's going to jettison this government and move on.
All right. What about Shehu Sani, Senator Shehu Sani? I
think Shehu Sani is a good guy. Okay. He's a good guy. He's a very outspoken person and he's very bold and courageous. And one would think that if he gets there, he will actually speak for Nigeria. Canvas for Nigeria. And of course, such a person will not be anywhere Nigerians have been oppressed, and he will keep quiet, because the idea is that an ambassador should be able to speak for his people. You can't be in a country where apartheid or, some kind of xenophobia is ongoing, some kind of oppression is all going on, and you are not able to rise to speak against such incidents. You are not being too diplomatic because you do not want to lose your job. You just want to keep making your money. While the people you are asked to represent, they are dying. I love human rights issues and you're unable to speak to it. I don't think that will be the right criteria. But Shehu Sani seems to be a very courageous person who I think should.
All right, speaking about human rights issues and all that, don't you think that Mr. President should have called those people who contested against him in the last election, in 2020 elections, and maybe compensate them by making them ambassadors? The likes of
paid them off.
Omololu.
They were paid. No. Those who contested. Okay. You mean those who contested from
other political parties? Yeah.
Well, Showore is a deviant. He can't get somebody like that. Showore has an ambition. He has an agenda. Okay. He wants to disrupt the norm, and you can't bring somebody like that into your system. Do you understand? He wants to create some imbalance, a positive imbalance. You can't bring such a person to work with you, and they know what he stands for. Okay,
John Izuchukwu. Well, I hope you would also make the ambassadorial list too. All right, it's been awesome on the agenda this morning, the maiden edition on Dominion TV. I am Chike Ubogu. Tomorrow is another time, 9 a.m. on the agenda. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Bye for now.
Entertains and transforms.
Catch top-notch entertainment, including movies, talk shows, and insightful programs curated just for you.
Looking for cutting-edge documentaries, exclusive interviews, and lifestyle shows that matter? We have got it all.
Stay ahead with the latest trends, inspiring success stories, and must-watch TV moments only on Dominion Television.
Join a community that celebrates excellence, innovation, and African storytelling at its finest.
Don't miss out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on all our social media platforms.
No remuneration, or just anything to appease them for it. But this over 4,000, it's a lot. That's a lot. It's a lot.
I know. I know people who have traveled on holiday, packed their baggage, and then gotten there. And it's, all sorts.
I remember someone, a popular figure, I think it's Tunde Onokoya. He got to Morocco, where he was going. His luggage,
wow.
He did, for days, he couldn't get, hold of his luggage. These things happen a lot here. Wow. The number is huge. And my husband has lost a laptop.
What?
And a lot of things.
Did they compensate for it?
We were on it for months. We had to just let go eventually. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So people have very horrible experiences with this.
Whew, absolutely sad.
Most times the issue is always alarming, but the best thing is make noise.
About it.
Exactly.
If you all keep doing
I have
that,
a friend who made a lot of noise, and honestly, they actually had to meet her to say, okay, can you undo this noise that you made.
Maybe compensate.
Yeah, they did compensate. I mean, they had to send her back from Lagos with the driver.
Wow. I think I agree with that. Making noise is good. I remember sometimes something like that happened to me. I put them online, kept writing. They came behind and said, please, we would sort it out. Please, can you pull down?
Tag them.
So we need to,
find their social media, find their manager, find an email, make sure you make a lot of noise, because when you don't, it's bad. Yeah, nobody likes that bad press on social media. So that's the only way I think you can get your stuff back.
Yeah, and I think recently there's been this, output that you actually have your rights for when you want to travel. So if maybe they delay your flights, there's supposed to be some form of compensation. If you I don't know, if you just have, I know there's like this code of conduct that has come up recently. So I think we should also know our rights, and when it is being defiled, then we should also speak up, trample and speak up about it as well.
Insurance, that if you do that, you definitely don't have any choice than to compensate you. I had that recently. So
I would like the money.
Most times we don't do that. We don't take our travel. They're not that expensive. Actually, you'll be amazed at what you can get from doing your travel.
And about reporting them, let me tell you the honest truth. It's the same system. So sometimes they just put that out so that they can reduce the noise. We don't want you to go to the channel that they cannot manage.
Okay.
So when you put it in their channel, there's a way that it just goes in there and then it's watered down.
Right.
So, but if you use your own channel, your own influencers, it gets really...
Absolutely. Everybody must recognize that you are an influencer in your own right. Once you have a social media handle, you are an influencer. So you must use your voice and make sure you know your rights and do the right thing. All right, my headline for the day is from the Punch newspaper, where 20 governors are under fire for delaying the 70,000 naira minimum wage. Wow. And it says that the NLC, the national president of the Union of Local Government Employees, Alhaji Aruna Kankara, said that about 20 states have yet to implement the 70,000 naira new minimum wage for local government workers and primary school teachers. Of course, these states include Yobe, Gombe, Zamfara. You can tell that obviously what they have in common is that they're at certain parts. Absolutely. Kaduna, Imo, as well, Ebonyi, Cross River, Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Can you imagine, of all places, still haven't implemented the 70,000 naira minimum wage. And you know why this is my headline of the day? Because I'm thinking of this day and age where things are tough. And apparently even the 30,000 naira minimum wage, some people are just, and not to talk of the 70,000 naira as it is not, we all know, is something that when we take to the market, it's nothing. Absolutely, it's gone. So the fact that there are still states that are struggling, it also shows that obviously states there are some issues. Their generation, their financial absolutely is not good enough. So we must ensure that because these are people that have to live, have to eat in Nigeria of today. And so if we have states that are still not paying up to 70,000 now, you're wondering how are people surviving in this economy. It's just really distasteful. And I hope that there's some sort of way that we can hold them accountable to ensure that they do the right thing. This has been, passed into law like since last year.
Wow.
And we still have in April 2025, some states still are not paying 70,000 naira.
So it comes from a place of good conscience. I mean, who has the conscience of the people, the common man's plight, and all of that, because there are states they didn't call. We know the states they didn't call.
Lagos will never be
and their state was not called.
So are you saying that because you're from?
No, I'm not from there.
Oh, okay.
What I'm just saying is good conscience. The leadership there is applying a lot of good conscience, doing the roads. Yes, good conscience first.
Yes, true. So are you saying, because there's some people who say that it's not just about good conscience, but the fact that perhaps they don't have it.
No, it's there. It's there because when you look at it, every one of the states are getting some level of quota and location. And what happens is some of them are putting this money in fixed. They're fixed. Allegedly, they're fixing the money and they're assuming that the people they don't need it. Why do I say they don't need it? Because they are farmers, so they can easily just go to their farmland and pick what they need. What do they need? Gucci, Fendi. What do they need? All of the lifestyle for. So I think it's mostly looking at the people downplaying their needs.
It's sad because they are public servants for a reason, to serve the public, to serve the people, and unfortunately we're not seeing much of that happening. Because if you are serving the people, you are wondering how your people are surviving. And so we need people who are actually servants and not people who are trying to rule, if you know what I mean. What is your headline of the day?
Okay, so this morning I'm reading from Punch. It says, U.S. tariffs pose destabilizing challenges to Nigerian trade minister. I'm very interested in this topic because, I'm an exporter. And I know that we've been very, lucky to have what we call AGOA. That's African Growth Opportunity Act, which gives, businesses the opportunity to export into the US, especially maybe like fashion and all these creatives, to export into the US with very low tariffs. But we've not, for 5 years, even more than that, we've not taken charge of this. We've been having conversations around trainings and conversations around this. And then Africa now came up with their own and said, okay, we have the capacity within Africa to trade. And we came up with the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, which 55 countries, agree that we can trade freely within ourselves. But it has not happened. We are still having that conversation. Nothing. Now, AGOA, Mr. President, the US President says, I'm closing this gap.
Exactly.
No more. If you want to come in, you're going to pay high tariffs to export in the US. So that's where we are now. And we've not done anything about our own trading within Africa. So where do we go from here? So I'm really bothered why we can't just take this step. Because Africa is very rich. Yes. We have a lot of things that we can do within ourselves. But I notice we don't really like ourselves.
We don't.
Why don't? I don't know. We don't.
One of the things, beyond this, one of the reasons why I agree that we don't like ourselves is that to travel to another African country is sometimes more expensive than traveling to a European country.
That's true.
When I found that out is when I thought, what is going on?
Yes.
It's
2.5 million to Kenya early last year. I was surprised. I said, am I going to the UK?
Thank you.
I mean, I don't understand. And you have to pay, you have to get a visa to enter some of these countries. $100 to enter Kenya. Yeah, I'm telling you. And we are coming from Nigeria. So how do we go from here? Now they've locked their borders. Or you want to come in, you pay every tariffs to bring exports.
It has been like that forever. I mean, from when we were colonized, we were made to believe that our hair is, you're supposed to use a comb on your hair, you're supposed to, all of those exchanges, and then slowly the mindsets were really, battered. So when you look at your skin color or another person's skin color, you're just like, let's bleach, and that's where people are, favoring white deliciousness over, the melanin color. So it has been
that division that
over time. It was eroded over time. The mindsets were eroded. People no longer love themselves. It's been a long time. So if you are seeing you're just seeing the facade of things that have taking place for a long time.
But then I'm happy we're here because now where do we go from here?
Forward?
Yeah, so we are not stuck within our own country. So we have to find a way forward. How can we trade within Africa and also?
I really like Miss
Oduwole.
Yes, she's doing fantastic to ensure that we hope that they can support her. So we're not just having talk, just like you said, we see a lot of conferences happening, a lot of sit down, all of that, but we need to start to walk the walk and not just talk the talk. Absolutely. What is your headline of the day?
So my headline is coming from the leadership, and it says on the World Health Day, experts demand urgent reforms of the health sector. And with 1,047 deaths, over 100 live births. Wow. 1,000, that's like, how many percent is that? That's amazing. That's a large number. Yes. So, but for me, it feels like before you are even talking of health reforms, everybody should, all man to himself. Your health, you have to understand yourself. You have to understand what's going on in your body before you even give, reins to your husband, your community, your school. I was in the hospital last week, Monday. That was just after the Modern Sunday in my church, and there was a commotion in the hospital. The next thing, the hospital didn't tell me. I was like, what's happening? They said, no, there's nothing, no. And then I had to take my injections, and I couldn't get the injection because I would not let an angry nurse to inject me. That's like second time that's happened. You can't inject me if you're angry. Instead, I'll learn how to do the injection myself. So that's because I wouldn't know what you are doing behind me, or like,
are you in a state of
kind
mind
of vendetta, So, and eventually I realized that a woman who came in to have her baby, her 4th years, lost her life.
Oh my goodness.
After that life was lost, the child who was given birth to was taken to another hospital, and 150,000 was demanded from the people who brought the baby. and the baby didn't get any help until it died after 2 hours. Now, the hospital did not even release the woman's body until 900,000 was brought by the community or church community. Now, it's a lot to unpack, but I'll let you guys speak first.
I mean, what do you say? What do you say to that? Which is why I like our big conversation for the day. It's kind of similar, but I mean,
it's very
it's a lot to unpack.
So many needless.
Oh my goodness!
Still so much needless death that we see happening.
I mean, initially, I was going to say, after she read the headline, I was going to say, let government pay more attention to starting from even community hospitals. I had seen a video where, someone walked into the hospital, community hospital, and, just looking at the equipment they had, the kind of bed, that was there, and they expect, a random individual in that community to get like proper health care. It was very alarming, right? So now seeing that now, I don't know if this was a private hospital or, government hospital, but even seeing that in the ones we seemingly say are, the good hospitals, they're still experiencing, things like this. It's left for us to wonder, where am I actually safe? Right? Which is why, just like you said, let everybody take charge of their health as well. Let's not totally rely on health professionals. Yes, they are trained for that job, but let's also educate ourselves properly, because I have a friend who, when she was younger, she went to the hospital, they gave her a wrong, injection, and, she's now auditorily impaired, right? Yes, so now it's affected her hearing. And of course, there are many stories, following this line. So let's take that initiative ourselves as well.
So it was the wrong prescription, and ate the intestine and everything, and bleeding everywhere. So these things happen. It happens on a daily basis.
So beyond even for us to take charge of our health, know what our body needs at every circle. The other thing is there are organizations like Oro Data, big budgets. What they do basically is, put out infographics, make sure that the government is looking at what they should look at. The infographics is also pointing the people, the lay people who cannot read a lot of English, a lot of grammar, and look at the numbers, look at the deaths. That's where this particular one is one of the research, database. Look at what is happening. The thing you just mentioned, all data goes to local, communities, places that cars cannot get to. People don't even know that they exist. They go there, send people there, and tell them, go and give us what is happening. Take pictures, bring them in, and we put out the data. Let it be loud.
Absolutely, and that's what we don't have, that data. And also the people who are regulating, the regulating boards who are ensuring that they hold people accountable. Because sometimes you just see splash, this happened, and then after that, then what happened? Did heads roll? Did anything?
Nothing happens.
Absolutely.
Nothing.
So, and it could be worse, but we don't have data.
So before we talk about health sector reform, we should also know that this is a sustainable form of reform. It has to be sustained, and it has to be continuous.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're going to go on to do our big conversation, but we're going to take a short break first. When we come back, we're going to play a video which triggered our big conversation today. So it is still the big conversation. We'll be right back after this.
Jones, thank you. Bele Kemi. Bele. Wa rure wa sorry. Agbára Ọlọ́run. Wa rure wa sorry. Yes. Ewo ki bọ́ lára igi kó nigi lára. Wa rure wa sorry. John to Ọlọ́run. Ó ti rure náà. Jọ. It's okay, Kemi. It's okay, be strong. Kemi, be strong. Give me your hand. Give me your hand. Give me your hand, Kemi. Give me your hand. Yeah. Kemi, I get you. Yeah? You'll be fine. Are you strong? Are you strong? Huh? Kemi. Kemi, are you strong? Please now, Kemi, please. Please.
Very, very sad, the video you just watched, but unfortunately that happened, that was real. We're talking about two heartbreaking incidents today, actually, that have had Nigerians questioning the state of healthcare and empathy in the country. A man lost his pregnant wife after a hospital demanded 500,000 naira before treatment. And in another case, where Bumper co-founder was left to die after a woman refused to take him to the hospital because she didn't want blood in her car. Both victims were later rejected by hospitals. Now the question is, why are emergency cases still turned away in Nigeria? Where is the humanity? That is the question we're asking today. And we'd like you to actually leave a comment. If you're watching live on YouTube, please leave a comment. Let us know what your thoughts are as we have this big conversation on the state of our healthcare and why healthcare, hospitals still shun patients before payment is made. We're going to also be balancing this and talking to a doctor in a bit, but that was a very disheartening video, but not one we haven't seen before, unfortunately, or one we have not heard about before.
Happens regularly,
and it's pretty sad. Osari, what were your thoughts when you saw that video?
I mean, seeing the video, it was first of all sad because even just trying to interpret the emotions of the man and seeing the wife as well. And interestingly, earlier, I think that same day, because it was still the same outfit they were wearing, I mean, they were all like jolly, he was having fun with her and everything, and all of a sudden everything changed. And I mean, one would think that given her condition that there will be some form of leniency applied, but it seems that wasn't the case, unfortunately. And it's just sad to see that this eventually ends in the loss of a life or lives, in this case, when it's not just the mother, but, the child, or in a multiple casualty situation, it could be more than one person. So it's really it's always a sad situation.
Right. I know social media was looking at an angle that, for me, I got a little irritated because, yes, they were saying how, I mean, it takes about 9 months to be pregnant. Why weren't certain things put in place? Obviously from the family's side as well. However, today we are focusing on the hospitals, and yes, we know pregnancy takes about nine months. You should prepare for this kind of things, So even if it was an accidental conception, there's nothing
even
like an
before the 9 months. You're a married man, you're a married woman. What is the next thing?
You know that the baby is coming.
The baby is coming.
So, however, we're looking at how, because look at the Bumper CEO as well. That young guy came from Canada, apparently, I think on holiday.
Yes.
He got hit. That's another story entirely, what that lady even did. However, the fact that he was there and they're taking him to a couple of hospitals and they had also rejected him. Yes. I think for me is, people talk about this Hippocratic oath. And I know we're going to have a doctor soon, and I know there are two sides to this thing, but from my side, when you go abroad, for example, you've never heard a case of maybe someone, being turned back because it's an emergency. But however, on the other hand, I just look at it too, guys. A lot of doctors are thinking, we don't know what case you are bringing, because they're all, I think it is that they're always trying to, I don't want this person to die on my hands, and I'm going to be blamed for it. But what are your thoughts, Dr. G?
Yeah, so it got across. Of course, we know that they have the fear of, if she dies there, we don't have a case note, and we don't know what it is in the medical profession that, what they've signed, we don't know the implication, so we can't really blame totally. But as we have discussed this morning, I think humanity, having that empathy is very, very important. This is a woman that is pregnant. Think of the baby, think of the woman. So what do we do in this case? So I think it's not a fixed, it shouldn't be a fixed rule. We should look at situations that are on ground and make a decision on that, so that we can help people. Because this, what we are discussing now, is not just a one-off thing. It happens on daily basis. Happens on daily basis.
Absolutely, and it's super sad.
The system we are operating in Africa, in Nigeria, is not cohesive. There's no fluid. Fluidity is lacking, from the police to the hospital to the community. Everybody's having their own barrage of thoughts process. That's okay. The police is not good. The hospital is wicked, and then the community is we are the ones that are being The hospital doesn't run. The hospital doesn't run on water. How many cases do you want them to take in a day, in a week, in a month? Unless there's an initiative or a non-profit that, or a GoFundMe that goes out and says, okay, we know what? Want to help the hospitals, want to be able to raise money, kese right now, to help the hospitals to run, and then the hospitals can register under this and get help. They have staff. They have ambulance, of course. So I know J. Rafa, you know, there's a hospital, then God rest her soul, she's gone now. But she had ambulances that she got, you know, through some kind of funding. And then, of course, these are things that when they are in place, of course, help can come.
Okay, so my question is, do they have grades for hospitals? Because I'm trying to understand, when they enter, they say, because I read part of that story, is that they don't have the facility to take care of, that's what they say, that they don't, that they refer out to another. And it happens a lot. When you get to a particular hospital, they say, we don't have the equipment.
Exactly.
So, should you call them dispensary or...
thank you.
So that they shouldn't put the name hospital. If you don't have, so that we know they're in grades. Then we know, so that we know
only makes absolutely.
I know you want to dwell. I know you want to dwell on the hospitals, but I want to also ask, why was the man saying? He said, "Where are you taking us? Where do you want us to take you?" He said, "Anywhere." What is the meaning of anywhere?
Because he's desperate. Obviously, someone who's in that kind of situation is desperate. He just needs help.
Because he didn't take care of that in the first instance.
We agree, but we have to look at it.
Yes, we agree. However, I like what Dr. Chinu said, which is that there needs to be a body to certify. Just like, I don't know if you can call yourself a doctor without having gone through certain and people who certify that you are. So even a hospital, you can't just decide I'm a doctor. Let me set up a hospital. There must be certain things. Even when you're driving your car, do you have what's it called? There are people who determine, do you have what's this thing, fire extinguisher? There are people who do you have COT? A hospital also perhaps should not be called a hospital.
Yes, if you don't have
there are certain things you can, at least emergency. People don't. That's why I say people don't think, okay, let me go to this hospital when I'm in pain. Just take me somewhere for someone to help me. So if you cannot say you are even a clinic without having certain things to cover emergency.
I think that is in place. The only thing, you know, that I can only mention here is, you know, a place as crowded as Lagos, where you know the major hospitals, you know, are not, you know, in the crooks and crannies. So just some of these come up so that they can fill in the gaps, the vacuums.
I disagree. I don't think they have standards. I'm sorry. I think, you know, it's the same thing that runs across every sector in Nigeria. We don't have standards. We don't have, because I'm sure some hospitals don't even have the business of being in the hospital. They shouldn't be there. They shouldn't be there.
I believe that, you know, you had asked if there are like categories of hospitals. I mean, what we were taught in school, you know, is that, of course, there are clinics. In fact, what we're taught is, in cases of emergencies, they first of all administer first aid. Right? First point of action to just ensure that this person is stable for that point. Right? We have clinics, we have community hospitals, you know, that, you know, just are put in all these local areas to tend to their needs. We have state hospitals, we have teaching hospitals, you know, and federal hospitals like that. And usually we see that it's the federal hospitals, I believe, you know, because of funding, they have better equipment. Now we see a lot of private hospitals who are trying to match up, but still might not have, you know, these equipment because it's really expensive. So when cases come in, I don't now know if they try to take time to administer first aid, but they say, okay, well, this case is critical, then they refer either to a teaching hospital or to a specialist hospital, right? So now it is that point of what are you doing in the meantime that this person is safe enough to be transported, or can we consider maybe calling the specialist, you know, to come and attend to it?
Absolutely stable first.
Yes. So let's not even rule out a very important aspect, which is HMOs, that's health maintenance organizations, which have, you know, with the rising of these HMOs, lives have been saved. You know, you know, if you have had, you know, experience with HMOs in Nigeria, you know that they are. Once you have a clinic or a hospital that you are using, you don't have to talk too much. All you just need to come in, you give them your number, and the next thing you get treatment. So I really cannot relate, honestly speaking, where your wife is pregnant.
We look at it from our perspective. We have been talking about hospitals and looking from our point. She has a very big point. We need to get our HMOs. We need. I have 2 hospitals registered under my HMO. One is in Bodija, Jirafa, and I have one in Ring Road area. So if there's an emergency, they can quickly take me here and not take me that far. So we need to, but I'm using one
HMOs are not, I don't know if, I mean, this couple, I don't know what their financial status is. I don't know if I'll call them poor, you know, but I know that even HMO is not, the government must obviously put certain things. For example, people who are abroad, maybe except Americans, I don't know what their own, you know, medical, but it really should be that the poor, who should the poor,
yes, there are HMOs that cater for that, people, that cannot afford. Yes, I think it's around 3,500 every month.
Different plans.
You drop 3,500 or something close to that amount every month so that it accumulates. So when you now eventually need emergency help or something, you can access care.
Then organizations too should do for their staffs. This is really serious. We should put, those who work with artisans, put them on some form of it. You can take it out of their salaries and come to an agreement of how you're going to do it. But it should also be added incentives to the work they do. We should do that so that it will help them. When they are sick, they don't have to say, where do I go and stay at home? They have malaria, they stay, because they don't have enough money. They can always go and get treatment.
Absolutely. It's sad to continue to see these kind of things happening, because I also look at it as, I know we talked about how maybe everyone should be able to
care for themselves,
hospital, but then when I think of abroad as well, I know there are GPs and then there are just like you mentioned, there are big hospitals. So if someone's pregnant, they already know, I'm going to this hospital. You're not thinking, I'll just go to any hospital around me. So I think there should be sensitization, awareness, so the people, so that so that you don't wait until the dying hour.
Capacity building, essentially, for everybody, the common man, anybody who can understand simple grammar. Capacity building. You need this, you need this, you need it, and you accumulate that help that you need. It's just the same way you accumulate, skill sets. You accumulate it, and over time, you can buy into, you can take, you can withdraw from that you have accumulated. So we don't want to talk about the man, and I will allow you guys first.
That'll be story for another day.
Exactly. We're supposed to look at this area now for women, pregnant women.
Yes, so that's why we need to capacity building.
Have this conversation.
All right, I want to balance this, because obviously we want to hear from a medical professional who can tell us why certain hospitals decide that obviously they're going to take payment for their attend to emergency situations. With us today from Omololu Hospital is Dr. Babayomi Taiwo. Good morning, doctor. Hello, doctor. Hello, doctor. How are you? Can you hear me? Hopefully we can have him tell us, because obviously we can sit here, we're not doctors. Okay, Dr. Babayomi Taiwo is from Omololu Hospital here in Ibadan. Sir, I don't know if you can hear me. Good morning. It'd be interesting to, because I'm sure nobody's that heartless to see somebody who's in pain and then just turns them away. There must be, I think that there must be some rationale, even though it doesn't make sense to me. But hopefully he can help us make sense of it. Can Dr. Babayomi hear me? Dr. Taiwo? All right. Hello, Dr. Taiwo. Okay. All right. So I'm sure there's a bit of a network issue, but I'm sure we'll get a hold of him quickly. And just like I said, I don't think anybody's that hard, because I remember a case too in Lagos. There was this girl that was stabbed by armed robbers. I can't remember if you know her. There's this hospital. I remember that people went to the hospital, protested because they took her to the hospital and they locked their gates. And I felt, for me, it was really heartless. Oftentimes, a lot of hospitals too, maybe they just leave some of the nurses who are maybe not as capable, and so for them, they are scared. You brought somebody. I remember one time they used to say, if you have a bullet wound, they won't treat you. Police report. I mean, someone who's got a bullet wound, the first place they're going to go to is a hospital. Not a police station. So I didn't quite make sense of that. But so they shut their gates and this girl died. I remember it was a very popular, there was protests. I think that hospital, in fact, they had to shut down for a few months. They now rebranded, So, but I think for them, it's more the fear of, and I don't want to speak, I'm not, holding brief for them. But I think mostly it's a fear of, if this person dies, then they'll blame
what you cannot control. Fear of what you cannot control.
Yes, absolutely. All right, let me see if Dr. Taiwo. Hello, Dr. Taiwo, can you hear us? Hello, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
It's a pleasure to have you here. So here on the big conversation, our big conversation is on the topic, why do hospitals shun emergency patients just because they don't? Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Dr. Taiwo? All right, Dr. Taiwo, can you hear me? Okay. Hello, can you hear me? Okay, so we're going to try and fix that. But the question, if you can hear me, sir, is why do hospitals request payment before attending to emergency payments. We're trying to get a doctor here because yes, we can all sit down here, but none of us are doctors, and we really cannot really say why why hospitals do this. It really doesn't make sense to me, and I'm really curious as to.
I want to know too.
Yes, I'm really curious as to what.
Before the doctor joins, my brother-in-law is a doctor, and I've had this conversation with him briefly, and some of his concerns are.
Hello, Dr. Taiwo, can you hear me?
Let's see.
Hello, Dr. Taiwo, can you hear me? Perhaps someone can repeat. Perhaps someone can share the question with him. I wouldn't mind for him to just...
Hello?
Hello, Dr. Taiwo. Can you hear me? Hello, Dr. Taiwo. Can you hear me, sir? Okay. All right. We're struggling to get Dr. Taiwo on the line. And as soon as we can, perhaps someone can share the question with him. Yes.
Yes.
Hello, Dr. Taiwo. Okay. So the question, sir, is why do hospitals request for payment before attending to emergency patients? It was online on social media recently where a pregnant woman died as her husband was trying to get them to give her some medical attention. Unfortunately, she died because the hospital turned her away because they didn't have a deposit of 500,000 naira. From a doctor's point of view, what are your thoughts on this and why does this happen?
Okay. Well, actually, I happen to be one of the leaders for doctors in Oyo State, and I will say categorically that private hospitals in Oyo State, many of us do not, as a matter of rule, demand for deposits before admission. At least the very many ones that I know. It is possible that some hospitals demand for deposits before treating patients. But I'm telling you categorically that most private hospitals in Oyo State do not, as a matter of must, demand for deposits before treating. They will commence treatment and then ask for their deposit. And usually, people who bring patients to the hospital will go round and bring their deposit. At least that has been my experience, or our experience, in all the Mobolaji Hospital branches in Ibadan, which we started in 1982. That's 43 years ago. I can talk of my hospital, and I can talk of very many hospitals in Ibadan because I know them and I interact very closely with them. The issue of the woman that died is regrettable. And I think we should just leave the whole thing to people who are investigating and come to a correct conclusion. Because I personally don't use social media reports to run my life.
So, Rooney, ask your question.
So what you're saying, sir, is that obviously social media is blowing this out of proportion, and that really hospitals don't turn away people when they don't have money to pay. Because we have seen this happen in real life. I know people also who people have demanded, a deposit from before they can get treated. But what you're telling us, sir, is that obviously social media is just blowing this out of proportion, and this is not something that happens normally.
I cannot argue with you on your experience.
Okay.
But I'm telling you my experience.
Okay.
So there's no way I can argue with you on your experience.
Okay.
Because I can. If you want me to name so many hospitals that do not, as a matter of fact, demand, I will name. Then you also, from your experience, maybe you see some hospitals that do demand. for deposit.
All right, sir. But before you go, sir, I wanted to ask how we can sensitize people. I think that with this case, for example, which was on social media, I think was a case of sensitization and awareness. Some of us and the ladies were talking about how, what are the regulations that are put in place to ensure that hospitals are have all that it takes to attend to, because the thing is, maybe some hospitals just don't have what it takes to attend to emergency situations. So we have all sorts of hospitals around, but most of them are not equipped. So is there any regulation in place to ensure that if a hospital, a person says they have a hospital, that there are checks and balances to ensure that they're able to at least, you know, see to emergency situations?
Well, you see, everything depends on government. Our association, for example, we have rules and regulations. We regulate our members. There's a committee that goes around regularly to visit hospitals with the simple aim of making sure they have all the necessary things, especially the things that are needed during emergency, especially the provision of oxygen and other emergency things. We have in our association, that is what I'm very, very sure of. But you see, we still have a lot of quacks, and we are battling with quacks. So this is the point that I will call on government to increase their regulatory and supervisory role in making sure that all hospitals have what to take care of the patient, especially whatever they regulated. Make sure they have them regularly. That means government also must go around to all these hospitals. The hospitals are springing up every day, many of them not registered. Those cannot be our members. And if we just say in one brush that private hospitals, it would be very, very, very bad to say private hospital, because as I'm telling you, our association, AGPMP, that is Association of Private Practitioners, we self-regulate ourselves and we make sure that all our members, I repeat, all our members have what it takes to take care of emergencies. And if once they know that it is beyond their capacity, they know what to do, and that is referral to a higher center, usually tertiary center.
Thank you so much, Dr. Taiwo, for your time here on The Big Conversation. We appreciate you. I know a lot of people talk about the Hippocratic Oath, which is a quick thing that came to my mind just before you go, sir. So a lot of people use this Hippocratic Oath, I think, to hold doctors to ransom. So I don't know, can you explain that just in 2 minutes? This Hippocratic Oath that a lot of people say whenever situations like this happen, sir.
Every one of us, we all know our Hippocratic Oath says, and we, as much as possible, tend to abide with it. But you see, the problem we have is 60% of the hospitals in Oyo State are not even registered. I'm able to say that. So we cannot, we are registered, we can only talk about our members, we can only enforce our rules and regulations on our members, but not our members. But many a times, hospitals are not back, and the committee will report them. And at the end of the day, I'm telling you, nothing happens to them.
Okay, well, we're losing Dr. Taiwo there. Thank you so much, sir, for your time with us and for sharing. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. I mean, he says that, you know.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure having you. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. Well, according to what he said made a lot of valid points. Him saying that social media is sort of blowing this out of proportion, though, I'm not quite sure. Because even if it's one case, it's a case, it's happened and it's out there on social media. And thank God for social media. A lot of these things in the past used to be swept under the carpet. But social media has allowed us to see so many things happening today.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see that what he said from his perspective, or from the hospitals he can vouch for, that they attend to emergency cases. But with the story we're looking at, the two stories we're looking at today, these are also very valid stories. And you know, some need the funds, or they need people to pay, you know, before attending to them for operational costs. I mean, if they keep, maybe they have been doing it before in the past and they've seen that it doesn't pay them. Right, so they need to keep the hospital running. They need to, you know, pay the staff. They need to buy equipment, or you know, service the equipment that would, you know, tend to these emergencies. But I'm going to pick from what, you know, you had said, you know, earlier. They would need funds. So maybe aside from relying on the money patients pay or from government, maybe hospital owners should outsource funding, or, you know, put more effort into you know, sourcing for funds to fund the business, because yes, we want to ensure that people are actually getting the health care that they need, so we don't keep losing lives. Absolutely. So let's look for more funds outside of, you know, the ordinary sources we would have, you know, adapted.
So, for me, I think the core of the problem is what he has highlighted. Most of the hospitals are not registered. That's why we are here. That's why they cannot have the capacity to do the, you know, to take in the patients, because they don't have what it takes to do it. So how do it? So the question is, how do they regulate this? Because what he's saying, in other words, is that even when they report some of these hospitals, they go and pay, maybe bribe some officials so that the hospitals will still remain open. That's what. So it's a cycle. It continues.
Okay. So, but there's a place of social enterprise in every sector. So what social enterprise or social impacts, you know, enterprises do is that they look at it from the human angle, and they try to make sure that essentially there's some kind of help that comes to the common man who cannot get help for himself or herself. So what they do is they raise the money ahead. They go on source for grants, and then of course run that business. Of course they run the business, but of course they also look at the human angle where you don't have money. You know, I could mention a few we know in Ibadan. You know, Help Mom, for instance. You know, they train midwives, and then of course send these midwives to, you know, all sorts of nooks and cranny, and they help with these pregnant women who cannot go to the hospitals, who cannot pay, you know, for health care. So I think it's you know, it's in our place to, you know, develop a system where there are more social enterprises, you know, because a business is a business. A social enterprise understands that there's a human angle, and they raise grants. So that's where, you know, we are looking at more social enterprise, more businesses that are focused on the human angle.
Okay, well, thank you very much, ladies. That was an interesting and very emotional, to be honest, conversation to have, because yes, you understand that the doctors, you know, have bills to pay, but on the other hand, we are losing lives, and we must make sure things are put in place to ensure that people who have emergency situations are, you know, attended to before we can now start to talk about money. All right, we're going to take a short break. I'm already thinking commercial. I like money. We're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to be playing a really nice game to soften the atmosphere a little bit. It's still the big conversation, and we will be right back. my goodness. So the next time you see a group of panda, just say, oh, that's an embarrassment. And a group of flamingos is called a flamboyant. I think that one is because flamingos are kind of, very pretty and flamboyant. So that's an interesting one. Thank you very much, and I hope you found that interesting. I don't know how many people knew that. I didn't know that group of pandas is an embarrassment. So well, now you know. You can be sure that when you tune in or watch the big conversation, you not just be entertained, you also learn something new. So we're glad that you learned something new today. All right, so let us know in the comment section. Did you know the answer to that? That a group of pandas is called an embarrassment. Did you know? So if you're just learning as well, thank us in the comment section. Thank us in the comment section. And of course, don't forget to subscribe, because every day from 10 o'clock we'll be bringing you the big conversation with some of your most amazing ladies, brilliant ladies. So make sure you tune in. Okay, all right, so it's time to have some fun and flow. So I hope we're ready with our question. So we're going to be getting our question very quickly, and then we're going to be writing our answer. So do we have a question for fun and flow? Do we? And if you're in the comment section, we want you to answer this question as well. So the question is going to be on the screen very quickly. You're going to see the question on the screen, our fun and flow question. Are we ready for our fun and flow question? All right, and then we're going to write our answers. Okay, here is our question. I will take a job based on connection, even though I do not qualify. I will take a job based on connection, even though, don't show it yet. Yes, do you agree or do you disagree? I will take a job based on connection, even though I do not qualify. All right, so are you ready? Osari, let's take Osari's answer. Osari, do you agree?
I agree.
Okay, all right, why do you agree? You take a job that maybe your uncle, and you don't qualify. There are millions of people that came unapologetically with your full chest.
With my full chest. Because it could be, a job where I'm not particularly trained for. Say like that's not what I studied, but it's what I have interest in. Say for example, I studied psychology and I've been practicing in media for over 6 years. So if I get the connect, I will take the job. Because it's from there that I will get the experience to, build my career. So I mean, I would definitely take the job.
You don't have any problem in nepotism? My daddy.
For me, I can only tell that my heart is in the right place.
Yes.
Right? But for other people,
yes, you learn on the job.
Yes.
Okay, let me take Dr. T.
I disagree.
Disagree. Okay.
I like to know my onions. I love to be, confident at what
the money is plenty, Dr. T.
I like to. I cannot overlook that, and I would rather know what I want to do so that I can function properly. That's me. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Chisom. You
agree.
Why do you agree?
First and foremost, I don't have any uncle anywhere.
You don't have any godfather?
I don't have any godfather anywhere. So it's a dream. So I would rather not wake up from that dream. And the reason is not far-fetched. There are so many women behind me who needs my help. So I'll take the job and I'll work so hard. I'll work on my feet and I'll make sure that I would get into the system. I understand what I need to do.
Exactly. Okay, let's see. My answer is agree as well. I totally agree. Back in the day, I used to always be very sanctimonious and pious about this. Oh, nepotism is wrong. And but I realized in this Nigeria we're in,
if you don't know somebody,
it's tough. Not to say that there aren't people who have been able to get some opportunities, even though they didn't know anyone. But and also, even I as a mom, I always tell people, build a legacy that your children don't have to be starting from scratch. I get it. And I also feel like no matter how bad it is, except maybe for example, if someone gave me a job to be a doctor now, I know people will die. People will die. I will not take that. If you ask me to be a doctor, but it's something that can chance greed. You know what chance greed is? We will chance greed because, especially if it's a lot of money, there are lots of people who are getting jobs, who are getting connected based on their connections. And I don't say no to connection because hey, it's people often would like to put people in place where
they can trust you.
So maybe they're putting me there because
you recruit the doctor.
Exactly. Exactly. So I get your Dr. T's point of view about you want to know your onions, but I can learn on the job.
Delivering quality.
I can learn on the job. We can learn on the job, right? So it's 3-1 on Fun and Flow today. So let us know in the comment section. Would you take a job based on connection, even though you know you're not qualified? let us know. Would you take a job based on connection? Maybe your uncle, your father said, there's a job at the bank. We have lots of people like that. There's a job at the bank, CEO, CTO, COO, and you know that, hey,
we'll rough it. Yes, definitely.
If it's a leadership position as well, you have people who you can just pretend you know. Just say, just call people that have been there and just say, okay, has this been done? You have to be able to put your game face on and do what you got to do. So yes, 3-1, we agree, and Dr. T definitely disagrees. So let us know in the comment section. Write down, let us know if you agree or you disagree and why as well. All right, so go to our Facebook as well, go to our Instagram and follow us and share your thoughts on if you agree or disagree to our question on the Fun and Flow segment today. All right, so that was fun and interesting and something you can look forward to on the big conversation every day when we're here at 10 a.m. But we have some words on Mabu for you before we go, actually. And then when we listen to, we have what we call our wise words on the web. Our wise word on the web today. Sorry, do you want to share a wise word on the web?
Yes, the wise word on the web today. Discipline is choosing between what you want more and what you want most. Now, this is a quote from Abraham Lincoln. Absolutely. Discipline is choosing between what you want more and what you want most. So I think this basically just points on priorities. Yeah. Right? What you want now might not be what you need. Do
you want to sleep or do you want to be successful? I tell my children this all the time. Do you want to sleep all day or do you want to be
gratification? You just have to
Precisely.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Abraham Lincoln, for those words of wisdom on this Monday morning.
Absolutely. So remember that next time you're sort of indulging in pleasures of the moment. Think about what you want most. Yes. All right. So it sounds like something I tell my kids all the day. I'm sure they're tired of hearing me yappa about discipline, consistency, and all of those things. But yeah, it's been an interesting program. Thank you very much for being a part of today's show. And tomorrow we'll be back with another fantastic edition of The Big Conversation. So tune in to what we have in store for you. My name is Ronke Giwa Onofuwa.
I am Osara Nomasaba. Most people know me as the Edo Queen.
I'm Dr. Tino Smith, the famous DT.
Yes.
I am Chisom Mabia. Humble me.
Join us again tomorrow on The Big Conversation.
máa wo àwọn ìròyìn yìí lọ́kọ̀ọ̀kan àti èjèèjì àwọn ìròyìn tó jáde lónìí ìròyìn pọ̀ tó jáde lónìí o ní rẹpẹtẹ ní rẹbutu ìwé ìròyìn Guardian wọ́n gbé oríṣiríṣi ìròyìn jáde bùnmi kọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ náà.
láti inú ìwé ìròyìn Guardian èmi a máa pe ìwé ìròyìn yìí ní ìwé ìròyìn atọ́nà torí pé ní ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ gbà ẹ rí i pé wọ́n ya àwòrán wọ́n tún fi òǹkà lọ́lọ́kan òjọ̀kan sí i àmọ́ lónìí tẹ́ ẹ bá ń gbọ́ pé ọ̀rọ̀ pọ̀ nínú ìwé ìròyìn Náírà bẹ́ẹ̀ gan lọ̀rọ̀ ti ṣe rí lówùúrọ̀ ti tòní. ìwé ìròyìn àkọ́kọ́ lókè téńté ló ń sọ di mímọ̀ nípa owó kan ilé tí ilẹ̀ Amẹ́ríkà wọ́n tún ti gbéṣe wọn dé o wọ́n ní báyìí wípé àwọn nǹkan tí a máa gbé wọlé láti orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà lọ sí ilẹ̀ Amẹ́ríkà wọ́n ní wọ́n mọ̀ san ìdá 14 òní ó kù tí wọ́n mọ̀ san lórí àwọn nǹkan tá a bá ń gbé wọlé. Wọ́n ti wá fèsì torí pé bí ọ̀rọ̀ ọ̀hún ti ṣe jáde òun náà ni ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ti ń wò pé àkíyà ló dé pẹ̀lú owó tẹ́ fẹ́ mọ́ san mọ́ àwọn lórí yìí. Ilẹ̀ Amẹ́ríkà náà ti wá fèsì wípé ṣé ẹ rí owó eléyìí táwọn eléyìí bó ń pè ní tàríìfù táwọn ní kí wọ́n mọ́ san. Wọ́n ní ọ̀nà láti ṣe àmúgbòòrò ẹ̀ka gbígbé nǹkan wọlé lọ sókè òkun fórílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà. Odúwọlé òun náà ni ó ń fi ọ̀rọ̀ ọ̀hún ló ń fi síta. Ìwé ìròyìn Guardian lẹ́tì láǹfààní láti kà á sí ọwọ́ iwájú.
Ìròyìn tó kà nípa tí ìjọba ilẹ̀ Amẹ́ríkà fẹ́ ṣe òun èmi rò pé ọ̀rọ̀ yìí ibi tí ọ̀rọ̀ dédó yìí ọ̀rọ̀ òun mọ̀ jábí ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀bẹ̀ lọ́mọ yẹ ká ṣe.
pé ká mọ ọbẹ̀ wọn pé kán jọ
ká fikùn lukùn
ṣáwọn òkú nǹkan wálé sí wọlé orílẹ̀-èdè tiwa.
bá a bá fikùn lukùn ó léwu o torí pé ẹni tó bá ju ni lọ ó lè ju ni nù.
gbà fún rí wá ni gbà fún gbàdá sáwọn òkú nǹkan wọlé wá sí Nàìjíríà káwa náà wá sọ pé tó a mọ̀ fi owó lé fún wọn lápá abẹ́ ẹja tún wo.
èmi kàn ń wò pé
ó yẹ ká gbà wọ́n lọ́gàá.
ní ká gbà wọ́n lọ́gàá ká rọra fikùn lukùn pẹ̀lú wọn torí pé tí ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀ bá lọ́wọ́ ó ta kàngbọ̀n tí àlè bàbá ẹni tó bá ju bàbá ẹni lọ
bàbá ẹni ní làápẹ́
dádì làápẹ́ o
ó dà kò burú.
ó dà ìwé ìròyìn míì tí a tún rí oríṣiríṣi ìròyìn la rí nínú ìwé ìròyìn Guardian náà mo ti rí ìròyìn kan níbi tá a ti rí ìkà tí wọ́n sọ wípé àwọn ọlọ́pàá ti gba ìwé èyí tí wọ́n fi fẹ́ ṣọwọ́ sí Sanusi o pé kó wá sí Àbújá kó wá wí tẹnu ẹ̀ lórí ohun tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní ìlú Kano ní ọjọ́ ọdún ìtúnu àwẹ̀ torí pé wọ́n ní làásìgbò wáyé ní ìlú Kano lọ́jọ́ ìtúnu àwẹ̀ ní iléeṣẹ́ ọlọ́pàá bá ní kí Sanusi ó wá sàbújá o àmọ́ wọ́n wá ti dàárò báyìí wọ́n ní kí Sanusi ó má wá sàbújá mọ́ iléeṣẹ́ ọ̀tẹlẹ̀múyẹ́ làwọn ránṣẹ́ sí Kano tí wọ́n lọ́ọ́ fi ọ̀rọ̀ jóbító rọ̀rọ̀ pẹ̀lú Sanusi nílùú Kano.
Ó dáa ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun pẹ̀lú ìròyìn eléyìí náà tóun náà fojú léde nínú ìwé ìròyìn Guardian lówùúrọ̀ tòní. Wọ́n ní gómìnà Adémọ́lá Adélékè ló ti ṣe ìkìlọ̀ fáwọn orí adé nípínlẹ̀ ọ̀hún pé kí wọ́n mọ sọ̀rọ̀ tí ó mọ tẹnu wọn jáde àti pé èèyàn ń jà níta gbangba pé ibi tó bá da báyìí là á bá gbà wípé ó ti ṣèkìlọ̀ fáwọn orí adé tako àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ àlùfàǹsá tó lè fa wàhálà tàbí ìbínú tàbí róṣọ gbódógbódó róṣọ wọ́n ní gómìnà ti kìlọ̀ fáwọn orí adé ò ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun pé ká má ṣe rí ẹnikẹ́ni nínú yín mọ́ tí ó mọ̀ bọ́ síta gbangba tí ó mọ̀ wájà tàbí tí ó mọ̀ fọ́yàn létí àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ.
lórí oníkìlọ̀ déhùn tí ó wà náà ni èmi náà ti rí ìròyìn kan tó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú ìkìlọ̀ tí ó sì ń sọ náà ni wípé iléeṣẹ́ ọlọ́pàá lórílẹ̀‐èdè yìí ni àwọn ti wà ní sẹpẹ́ o láti kojú làásìgbò yòówù tó lè ṣẹlẹ̀ lásìkò ìwọ́de tí àwọn ikọ̀ kan tí wọ́n ń pinnu láti ṣe lónìí lórílẹ̀‐èdè Nàìjíríà ohun tí àwọn olùwọ́de ń sọ ni wípé iléeṣẹ́ ọlọ́pàá ti ń tako wọ́n ti ń lo òfin fífi ìyà jẹni lórí àwọn tó ń ṣe jìbìtì lórí ẹ̀rọ ayélujára bákan náà ni wọ́n tún ń sọ̀rọ̀ lórí bí làásìgbò ti ṣe wà láàrin ìlú tí ebi ọ̀gàjà fọ́mẹ́kẹ́ tó ń aráàlú lè mọ̀ wọ́n tún mẹ́nubà bákan náà ni wọ́n mẹ́nubà bí ààrẹ Tinubu ti ṣe kéde ìlú ọ̀fararọ ní ìpínlẹ̀ Rivers wọ́n ní àwọn nǹkan tí ó mú àwọn ṣe ìwọ́de lónìí rèé iléeṣẹ́ ọlọ́pàá wa ní àwọn ti wà ní sẹpẹ́ o láti kojú wàhálà yòówù tó bá fẹ́ ṣẹlẹ̀.
ó yẹ ẹ jẹ́ ká tún wo ojú ìwé ìròyìn Guardian bákan náà mo rí ìròyìn kan eléyìí tó ti ìpínlẹ̀ Rivers jáde náà ni níbi tí wọ́n ti ń sọ di mímọ̀ wípé láàárín ọdún kan eléyìí tí wọ́n ti pìyàmọ́ owó tí wọ́n ò ná fódìdí ọdún kan wọ́n ní ìjẹ́jẹ́ mọ̀ pé àbẹ́ ètò òṣùná méjì ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ òun náà ni wọ́n fi ń tukọ̀ ṣàkóso lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ eléyìí tó sì ti ń fa ìkànminú ní ìpínlẹ̀ Rivers.
ọ̀dà eléyìí ìròyìn bàbá àgbà wa kan ní nílùú Ìbàdàn tó ti fi ìgbà kan jẹ́ gómìnà ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ọ̀mọ̀wé Victor Ṣówẹ̀mọ́ Ọmọlúlú Olúnlọ́yọ̀ bàbá ti rebi àgbáre o bàbá rebi àgbáre ní ẹni ọdún 99 lóṣù yìí ni bàbá pé ẹni ọdún 90 ọdún àmọ́ ọlọ́jọ́ ti dé bàbá ti rebi àgbáre wọ́n ní gbogbo èèyàn ló ń kẹ́dùn bàbá yìí tó fi mọ́ ààrẹ orílẹ̀-èdè yìí olóyè Olúṣẹ́gun Ọbásanjọ́ náà àti gbogbo àwọn lókọlókọ àti àwọn gómìnà ni wọ́n ń kọrin ire kí bàbá yìí fún iṣẹ́ takuntakun tó ṣe láti jẹ́ kí àwùjọ wa kó dàgbà sókè sí tẹrú tọmọ tọmọdé tàgbà ló ń kẹ́dùn Victor Ọmọlúlú Olúnlọ́yọ̀ tó rebi àgbáre.
kọ́ba òkè kó jẹ́ kí gbogbo wa ká pẹ́ láyé kójú wa kó mọ́ sí ríbi láṣẹ Ọlọ́run nínú ìwé ìròyìn Guardian náà ni ìròyìn kan wà tó jẹ́ wípé bẹ́ẹ̀ èèyàn bá jorí àwọn onítọ̀hún yóò bomi lójú o wọ́n ní ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ ìjàmbá ọkọ̀ kan ló ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ tó wáyé nínú ìwé ìròyìn Guardian gẹ́gẹ́ bí wọ́n ṣe sọ wọ́n ní èèyàn 16 òun náà ni wọ́n ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ tí wọ́n gbẹ̀mí mì nínú ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ ìjàmbá ọkọ̀ tó wáyé òun ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn wọ́n ní àwọn èèyàn náà sì ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n fi ara pa yánnayànna nínú ìjàmbá náà ẹni tá a dágbére fún ọba òkè kò ní jẹ́ ọmọ bíi tá a lọ láṣẹ Ọlọ́run ọba a sì ní sìnrìn àní bá wọn rìn lọ́jọ́ tí ebi bá ń pọ̀nà.
àmín àmín ìwé ìròyìn míì ní ká fẹ́ tẹ́wọ́ mú báyìí ìwé ìròyìn Nigerian Tribune tó jáde lónìí láti rí àkọlé ìròyìn kan níbi tí wọ́n ti kọ síbẹ̀ gbangbangba wípé gbogbo wàhálà à ń pani à ń yìnbọn pani ní ìpínlẹ̀ Plateau wọ́n mà ló yẹ ó tó gẹ́ o à ń pani yìí ìròyìn olóríṣiríṣi tá à ń gbọ́ lórí wọ́n ṣekú pa èèyàn kan lónìí tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá gbàgbé èèyàn 52 ni wọ́n tún ṣekú pa ní ìpínlẹ̀ Plateau làwọn lókọ láàrin ìlú àwọn èèyàn èèkàn láàrin ìlú wá fi ń rọ gbogbo àwọn tọ́rọ̀ kàn wípé ẹ mọ̀ ẹ̀jẹ̀ á sinmi ogun òrìbádùn náà ṣe kìlọ̀kìlọ̀ ẹ̀jẹ̀ á sinmi ogun o ẹ̀jẹ̀ á sinmi kájẹ́ kógun ó mí kájẹ́ kógun ó sinmi.
Kógun omi ìhun náà ló dáa torí pé ogun ò dàbí iyán nínú ìwé ìròyìn Tribune bákan náà àwọn àkọlé ìròyìn kan náà ń bẹ níbẹ̀ tá a nílò láti fi síta ẹ̀yin ará ilé bàbá ṣe ń sọ bí ẹ̀yin náà máa bá wa ṣẹ̀rí ẹ̀ lọ ní ọwọ́ iwájú wọ́n ní ìjẹ́jẹ́ mọ̀ pé àwọn pápákọ̀ bí wọ́n ṣe wà kò bá òle òun ló ti bẹ́lẹ̀ báyìí torí pé ara òrókun ara òradìyẹ ni o wọ́n ní lọ́wọ́n gbèsè àti àwọn ìdojúkọ lóríṣiríṣi tó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú ètò ìṣúná wọ́n ní wọ́n ti ń dojúkọ báyìí o tí wọ́n sì ti mọ́nú odó eléyìí tí wọ́n fẹ́ gbé ọ̀rọ̀ ètò ìṣúná wọn gbà gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìwé ìròyìn Tribune ti ṣe gbé ìròyìn ọ̀hún síta lókè téńté.
nínú ìwé ìròyìn Tribune náà mo ti rí àkọlé ìròyìn yìí ìròyìn tó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú ètò ìdìbò tí ó wáyé lọ́dún 2027 ni o ẹnìkan tí ó jẹ́ ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ òṣèlú SDP tó kọ rẹ̀ jẹ́ Adébáyọ̀ ló ní Àtíkù àti Òbí wọ́n ń bọ̀ wá sínú ẹgbẹ́ òṣèlú SDP láti júwe ilé fún Tinubu ni o tó fi wọn kọ ọbẹ̀ nù.
nínú ìwé ìròyìn Tribune bákan náà ìròyìn eléyìí á ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀ ní pápápá torí pé àròjọ musolókun níbi tí ìjọba àpapọ̀ tó ti pa á láṣẹ báyìí fún àwọn fásitì gbogbo àti àwọn mìíràn wípé kí wọ́n ṣe àtẹ̀jáde owó tí wọ́n ná lọ́dọọdún bí wọ́n ṣe pín owó fún wọn àti ibi tí owó ọ̀hún bó ṣe ń wọlé sí àbí ibi tó owó tó ń lọ wọ́n ní kàn tẹ̀ síta fún gbogbo aráyé láti rí.
ó dá kí ẹ mú ìròyìn eléyìí wá náà kó tó di pé ká tẹkọ̀ létí lọ sí ìwé ìròyìn míì tàbí ká tiẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ ètò gan torí pé ọjọ́ ti ń lọ. ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n Ògúnwándé Abímbọ́lá ló mọ̀ sọ ìròyìn kan síta o ó ní aláàfin tuntun tí wọ́n ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ yàn ní ìlú Ọ̀yọ́ tí wọ́n gbé adélé lórí wọn ó ní ẹ̀mẹ́ta ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ ni ó gbé igbá oyin nígbà tó wà ní ìpèbí èyí tó túmọ̀ sí wípé dídùn lọ́sàn ó so lọ́yọ̀ọ́ adùn ìdùnnú ìgbéga láàmú rí lọ́yọ̀ọ́ ló jẹ́ ká ṣe kábíyèsí fọ́bá o.
tó dà ẹ jẹ́ mọ́ fi yún ká mọ́ fi ṣe lọ lórí ètò torí pé lójúde Dominion ẹ wò ó ẹni tí ò bá gbẹ́ ní dání torí pé ó pọ̀ ńlẹ̀ gan á lọ sẹ́mi mu díẹ̀ náà nígbà tá a bá padà dé láàbọ̀ sábàlá mi lórí ètò lójúde Dominion.
mọ̀nàmọ́ná yalugi oró wọnú ìlú ìtìjú bí aṣọ àkísà ńlọmọ rí o ó dọ̀rọ̀ àgbààgbà ó dẹrù fọlọ́gbọ́n ó dọ̀wọ́ àwọn àgbà ó dẹrù fọlọ́gbọ́n. ìlú oríta o ìlú àlàáfíà mo ní tẹ́ ẹ bá débẹ̀ ẹ bá mi kí wọn o gbogbo wa la ó fayọ̀ délé. ẹ bá mi kí wọn o. gbogbo wa la ó fayọ̀ délé wa. mo ní tẹ́ ẹ bá rí o ẹ bá ń káwé róyìn o ọmọge awẹ́lẹ̀ wa tó ń dá wa lọ́rùn o ilé owó ni ó wọ̀ ṣáyà ilé ọlá ni ó wọ̀ ṣáyà o. ilé ọlá ni ó wọ̀. tó lẹ́wà ìwúrí òbí ni wọ́n máa jẹ́ o mọ́bìnrin tó gbẹ́kọ̀ tó mú lò orí rẹ̀ dára orí rẹ̀ sunwọ̀n kò dàbí fẹ́ olórí ọkọ orí rẹ̀ dára orí rẹ̀ sunwọ̀n kò dàbí fẹ́ o. Ìkòkò tó fọ ìṣòwò àmúṣebẹ̀ ìkòkò tó fọ ìṣòwò àmútólé o ìkòkò tó fọ ìṣòwò àmúrodò ìkòkò àbúfọ ìṣòwò àmúyangàn ìbàdí àrọ́dẹ ni àmúṣe yẹ̀yẹ́ o bí ẹyẹ tí ò lápá ìbàdí àrọ́dẹ ni àmúṣe yẹ̀yẹ́ o. Obama ìlọ o Obama ìlọ o dúró ṣeun obìnrin ṣe. Obama ìlọ o àwẹ̀rọ Obama ìlọ o gbáyé ṣeun obìnrin ṣe o ò bá dúró fi.
ẹ ṣeun obìnrin ṣe o. ẹ káàbọ̀ sójú pọ̀nà amóhùnmáwòrán ti Dominion abala amúlùdùn òun la wàyé akíyín nínú lóko lẹ́yìn odi ohun gbogbo tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lábala amúlùdùn ẹ rí i pé inú wa dùn torí tijó ti dùnnú ó là ń bá wo abala amúlùdùn tẹ́ bá sì ń wò kàn ní gbogbo ìgbà láàmú amúnú yín dùn lọ́kọ̀ọ̀kan léjèèjì ẹ já ṣàlàyé gbogbo àwọn ohun tó ń lọ lábala amúlùdùn kétí yín lè gbọ́re àtayọ̀ ohun tó ń lọ ààyè àkọ́kọ́ tí mo fẹ́ kẹ́yìn ara ló gbọ́ fún ti tòní lójúde Dominion ó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú ọ̀rọ̀ tó ń lọ lójúpọ̀nà ayélujára lórí King Dr. Saheed Òṣùpá àti Portable Habib Òkìkíọlá gbogbo wa la ti mọ èyí tó ń lọ tẹ́lẹ̀ oníkálukú ló ti ń fà á lọ́tún lọ́sì lẹ́yìn tí Portable bóde yanya tó ní King Dr. Saheed Òṣùpá ohun tẹ́ wàá mọ̀ pé òun rò bí ọ̀rọ̀ àtòrin ló bẹ́nu ẹni ó mọ̀ pé àdó ló gbé kùn ọ̀rọ̀ lọ kí ló sì bí mo kó mo rò ó níṣe pẹ̀lú orí tí ó gbé jáde léyìí tí ó ti lo fọ́nrán kan bẹ̀ tó pè rẹ̀ ní ọkùnrin mẹ́ta ló mú kí King Dr. Saheed Òṣùpá pé ó dáa ojúpọ̀nà Spotify yìí tí ó ń gbórin sí ẹ bá ń yọ kúrò ó ti lórí mi tí ò sì yẹ kó lo ọ̀pọ̀ ọmọ Nàìjíríà ló ní àríwísì pé kò yẹ kí King Dr. Saheed Òṣùpá ó sọ̀rọ̀ bàgbà bá ń ṣe bí àgbà tọmọdé ń ṣe bí ọmọdé yóò fi tàgbà ṣe àgbà ni ṣùgbọ́n tí mo kìkì ọlá tẹ́lẹ̀ lónìí lánàá bí ẹkún àpọ̀kọ̀ jẹ̀nà òun náà wá bóde tó nírọ́ o lè pé kinní kan òun ti ń retí owó ẹ̀ tí a pé kan yọ orin tòun kò yẹ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ó sọ̀rọ̀ lọ bẹ̀rẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ ilẹ̀ kún bẹ́ẹ̀ bá tún fẹ́ gbọ́ tuntun láìpẹ́ yìí ó ní King Dr. Saheed Òṣùpá tún wá fi ọ̀rọ̀ jáde pé tọ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ gbógun bá jẹ lọ́gbọ̀n á jẹbọ̀ ikú bàbá Akeem ìkà bàbá Sùlíyà ohun tó ṣe lọ́gbà bàbá Yéwándé ọ̀rọ̀ ń tún gbogbo ọ̀rọ̀ wáyé pé orúkọ ọ̀rọ̀ tí King Dr. Saheed Òṣùpá ń pa yìí ìyẹn ni pé gbẹdú ọ̀rọ̀ yìí ò tí ì tán nù ẹ̀ pé Habib Òkìkíọlá ó ṣe é ṣe o kí ó tún padà gba ìṣòro lẹ́nu Saheed tàbí ohun tó dánwò léyìí tó ń wọ́ Saheed pé ẹgbẹ́ ń bí wọ́n kàn mo ti pẹ́ nírìn àjò orin kó tó di pé ìwọ náà bọ́ ọ́nú orin yóò wá wo gédéǹgbé bẹ́ẹ̀ tá a bá tún wo ọ̀rọ̀ King Dr. Saheed Òṣùpá àti Táyé Currency bákan náà a rí i pé ó tún so mọ́ Pàṣọ náà ìyẹn Alhaji Wasiu àti gbòyàn mọ̀ sí Pasuma King Dr. Saheed Òṣùpá àti Táyé Currency a mọ̀ pé ọ̀rọ̀ tí wọ́n kò gun tara bẹ́ẹ̀ kò dàbí ti King Dr. Saheed Òṣùpá àti Pasuma àrípọ̀ rẹ̀ ni wọ́n ṣùgbọ́n Táyé Currency láìpẹ́ ọ̀pọ̀ ọmọ Nàìjíríà fi ń sọ̀rọ̀ pé ìwà ṣe sùúrù gbà fọ́gá ẹ̀ àbí ọ̀gá ni lọ̀gá ẹni irọ́ o bẹ́ẹ̀ bá gbàgbé ní oṣù kẹwàá ọdún 2024 ọ̀rọ̀ tí ń jẹ yọ̀ọ̀bọ̀ léyìí tí Táyé Currency bóde tán pé ó dà Pàṣọ bàbá ló jẹ́ fún ọ lágbọ̀n orí ó ní rárá o kò tó òun bí lọ́mọ òun ò gbóni lẹ́yìn ẹ̀ òun ló mele fún ẹ ṣáà pé ń bàbá òun ẹ lè pè lọ́gà ṣùgbọ́n mọ̀ pé ń bàbá òun kò tó òun bí lọ́mọ o lọ́mọ Nàìjíríà pé ọ́ tiẹ̀ fi ọ̀wọ́ pé ń bọ̀ ń dàgbà tí ọ̀ ń bọ̀ lágbọ̀n orin lóní wẹ́rẹ́ ó ní ibi tí Pàṣọ ti ràn ọ́ lọ́wọ́ tó ti gbé ọ dìde ń bọ̀ wá pé kìí ṣe bàbá ló jẹ́ fún ọ lágbọ̀n orin rọ́ àní kìí ṣe bàbá fún kò tó òun bí lọ́mọ èyí òun lọ̀rọ̀ ń jẹ lọ ṣùgbọ́n láìpẹ́ yìí náà ọ̀rọ̀ míì tún jẹyọ láàrin Táyé Currency àti Wasiu Alabi Pasuma léyìí táyé kọ́rẹ́ǹsì ṣe àlàyé pé ọ̀gá ló tún jẹ́ o ọ̀rọ̀ náà ń lu Mẹ́kà ń gbọ́n lọ ilẹ̀ umura ni ọ̀rọ̀ tún jẹ jáde léyìí tí táyé kọ́rẹ́ǹsì ń gbìyànjú àti bẹ Paso pé ó dáa kó má bínú ṣùgbọ́n nípa bíbẹ ọmọ Nàìjíríà pé kò tún yọwọ́ ìgbéraga kú mẹ́ tó dá ní tán jọ ń fà níbi tán ti ń bẹ Alhaji Pasuma èyí ń sọ fún pé bẹ́ẹ̀ tán yányán ni ó dáa òun ti bẹ́ẹ̀ ọ̀gá ló jẹ́ fún ìwọ́ tẹ́tẹ́ bá mi sọ̀rọ̀ yìí gan èmi náà ọ̀gá mo jẹ́ fún ọ ó lọ́ọ́ sọ ọ̀gá mi o ọjọ́ mi lọ́ọ́ fi gbà lọ́wọ́ mi ìwọ 50 èmi 57 iyùn náà jọ ń fà kó tó di pé ọmọ Nàìjíríà pé àníkọ́ dọ̀bálẹ̀ yóò bá dọ̀bálẹ̀ fàárà kò ní àmọ́ ga gbogbo ẹni tó ń lù lẹ́yìn èèyàn kò mí pé kò jọga ẹ̀ o ó ṣàtì ń gbọ́ ń dàgbà bọ̀ Paso ló gbé ọdí àròbó ìgbà kan tẹ̀ lọ́ ń jókòó mọ́ Paso yìí lára ọ̀rọ̀ náà lọ léyìí tí ó tún ta kán sí ti Òṣùpá tó ní kọ́líìgì òun ni Òṣùpá jẹ́ o Òṣùpá yìí ṣe ọ̀gá tòun lágbọn nítorí òun kọ́ṣẹ́ lábẹ́ kọ́líìgì ni ọmọ Nàìjíríà tún mú ọ̀rọ̀ náà yẹ̀wò pé ó ti àwọn pé kíngíkíngí ní kọ́líìgì tiẹ̀ yíwùn Saheed Òṣùpá pé lágbọn orin ẹgbẹ́ ń bí wọ́n kàn ó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ kí wọ́n tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ nígbà tó ń kọ́ṣẹ́ lábẹ́ Paso ọ̀gá ni ṣùgbọ́n Saheed tí à ń wò yí ọkọ̀ líìgì ó ní èèyàn ọmọ Nàìjíríà pé kò yẹ kó lu ọ̀rọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ ó bá ti jọ́rẹ̀ẹ́ ọ̀gá ẹ̀ tó sì mọ̀ pé sàwáwù ni wọ́n náà ọ̀gá ló yẹ kó jẹ́ fún ọ ọ̀rọ̀ wà lórí àti ayélujára tọmọ Nàìjíríà ń fà láfi ní ká mú wá lábala amúlùdùn àfẹ́kẹ́ tí yín kó di o nípa ti Pella ọmọ léńjẹ lẹ́yìn tí ó ń rí dáwọ́là lò lákòókò yìí ọ̀rọ̀ ń jẹyọ lórí ẹ̀ o gẹ́gẹ́ bí ó ti bóde lójúpọ̀nà ayélujára ó ní àwọn ọmọ Nàìjíríà ti ń dún kòkò mẹ́ẹ̀mí tòun o kí ni Pella sì sọ ó ní #30 days rant challenge táwọn ọmọ Nàìjíríà ń sọ ní kálukú ń sọ ebi òpàgbà fọwọ́ mẹ́kẹ́ wà nílùú nǹkan ò farọ bí ọgbọ̀n ọjọ́ ló fẹ́ fi ṣe ó bá bóde ó ní ẹ dákun ẹ má bẹnu àtẹ́lu ìṣèjọba tó wà lóde mọ́ àìbọ̀mọ tó rù yọ lọ́jọ́ kan wẹ́rẹ́ yóò tó ó ní ọjẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ ẹnu ẹ sọ kọ́ sọ̀rọ̀ sọ o kọ́ ya orúkọ ẹnìkan lò sọ ní bárẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ sọ o ó ní bá a ṣe dáná bọ́nbọ́ ọlọ́bàṣà ló ìhun lẹ́kí ó là á ṣe ọ̀rẹ́ o lónà bá bóde pé ẹgbàá mi o ọmọ Nàìjíríà ti ń dún kòkò mẹ́ẹ̀mí o lọ́gbà pé òun sọ fún wọn pé kan yéé ṣe ìfihàn orí TikTok ayélujára lọ́gbà bẹ́ẹ̀ bó fẹ́ fi tó yín létí nípa ti Timi Dakolo àti Pastor Fẹ́mi Lazarus lẹ́yìn tí ọ̀rọ̀ wọn náà ti jẹyọ sọ́wọ́ ẹ̀yìn láìpẹ́ yìí lẹ́yìn tí Timi Dakolo ó ń gbìyànjú àti sọ pé ìwọ Pastor Fẹ́mi Lazarus ó pé àwọn olórin ìgbàgbọ́ tán kọrin kiri owó tán gbà ti pọ̀jù $10,000 kí ló fi tó bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n tún pé kán fún wọn ilé mìíràn gidi kán kó àwọn èèyàn sẹ́yìn àwọn pé akílódé ṣe bóni ìgbàgbọ́ là ń kọ́ ṣé bí Ọlọ́run náà là ń sìn Ọlọ́run èébì ilé wa tó bẹ́ẹ̀ Timi Dakolo bóde ò pé ọ̀dà ìwọ apá ìtọ̀ Fẹ́mi Lazarus tó pé owó tí àwọn olórin ń gbà yìí dáko olórin tí wọ́n pè tó ní kán fún níye lé báyìí kán fún ní nǹkan báyìí torí pé kí ni làán mi ni ọ̀rọ̀ rí o ó dá ìwọ olùṣọ́ àgùntàn náà ó ní ilé iṣẹ́ tó gbé tó jẹ́ èyí tẹ́ ti ń kó àwọn èèyàn ní ẹ̀sìn Ọlọ́run ó ní iye tó ń gbà o $10 jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ọlákẹ́kọ̀ọ́ bíi 1000 kan léyìí tí wọ́n sì ń sanwó ribiribi ó dáa sọ̀rọ̀ náà kọ́lá yìí náà ń ṣiṣẹ́ fún ọ̀rọ̀ ìwà léyìí táwọn èèyàn ń fa pé ó dáa lẹ́yìn ọ̀rẹ́yìn wọ́n padà forí okòó ṣọdún wọ́n parí gbogbo àìgbọ́ra-ẹni-yé tó wà láàrin wọn ẹ̀jẹ̀ tún gbé yín débẹ̀ dáadáa nípa ti tú bàbá Annie Idibia léyìí tí ó ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ó jẹ́ ìyàwó fún Idibia ọ̀rọ̀ ti jẹyọ láàrin wọn léyìí tí àwọn méjèèjì wọ́n ti pín ṣùgbọ́n Annie Idibia bẹ́ẹ̀ bá lójúpọ̀ náà Instagram ẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ bá ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ yìí gbogbo àtẹ̀jíṣẹ́ tó fi bẹ̀ ó ti delete ẹ̀ ó ti yọ kúrò owó gédéńgbé ló ń wà ọmọ Nàìjíríà wá pé Two-Face èèkàn kùgbọ̀n lágbọn olórin ni kì í wá ṣe wọ́n ló yẹ kó wá fi rú àpò ìpè ọ̀fẹ́ arábìnrin ó bá tiẹ̀ ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ojúgbàrà kọ́ ló yẹ kó ti sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ bá gbàgbé Two-Face ó bọ́ta yanyanyanya tó ṣàlàyé pé tọ ìrìn àjò ọ̀fẹ́ láàrin òun àti Annie o pinpin ó ti bá ọmọ Nàìjíríà pé bo ni wòye ti dáná alẹ́ ọbẹ̀ dùn jura lọ ni ẹ̀kọ́ wọ̀ lọ́wọ́ kó àwọn ọ̀dọ́ léńje bí eré bí ẹ̀wà kò pẹ́ láti pé ìyẹn Idibia Two-Face fúnra ẹ̀ ó ti tọmọ amòfin kan ní Ẹdó ń bẹ̀rù tán pè ní Natasha lẹ́yìn tí wọ́n jọ ìrìn àjò fẹ́ wẹ́rẹ́wẹ́rẹ́ wọ́n ti ń wọlé wọ̀de wọ́n ti ń lọ sọ pé kínní wọ́n ti lọ ń jẹ ẹlẹ́rìn dòdò wọ́n ti jọ ń wọ̀ ta ibi wọn bá dé láàkó yìí Natasha fún rẹ̀ tó jẹ́ amòfin tá à ń sọ̀rọ̀ yìí ó ti fowókọ̀ Idibia sí orí ìyẹn àkáǹtì ẹ̀ ní Instagram ó ti di Natasha Honourable Natasha Idibia lẹ́yìn tí wọ́n ti jọ ń wọlé wọ̀de ọ̀rọ̀ fẹ́ wọ́n ti mú yányán ṣùgbọ́n láàkó yìí Idibia ti pé òun àti Annie o àwọn ti pín kò sí ìrìn àjò fẹ́ kan láàrin ara wọn mọ́ èyí mú kí ọmọ Nàìjíríà wo pé tọ̀ ibi abáde ìrìn àjò fẹ́ ṣé bá náà ni máa forí sánpá ní gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá ti wà lágbàmúlùdùn kí ló dé tí ìrìn àjò fẹ̀yìn kì í pẹ́ fẹnu sọlẹ̀ bíi pé ọkọ̀ akóyọyọ ó kó nǹkan kò yẹ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ń wá ta kò tó ọ̀rọ̀ sí ìdí bí àpé àgbà ní ọ́ àìbá àgbà nínú ọtí á ṣe èyí ń bẹ́ẹ̀ ó lóní ṣìwọ́ṣìwọ́ tí gbogbo ọmọ Nàìjíríà ń láìkì lákòóyé Wizkid dínú òun náà wà gbégbèsè tó jọ ọmọ Nàìjíríà lójú gbogbo àwòrán tó fi sójú pọ̀nà Instagram ẹ̀ gbogbo tó wà ń bẹ̀ àfifẹ́wù ó delete ẹ̀ lọ́mọ Nàìjíríà bá dó pé àwọn olólùfẹ́ báwo pé kí ni Wizkid kí ló atúndí lọ́bẹ̀ tó igaru ọwọ́ wọ́n pé kì í ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ní oṣù kẹjọ ọdún 2019 àti July náà wọ́n ní bó ṣe mú àkáǹtì ẹ̀ tó yọ ogun tó fi bẹ̀ nu láàkó yọmọ Nàìjíríà sí ń wò yí ọ̀rọ̀ ìdí abákan kí ni Wizkid tún rí tó fi yọ ogun tó bá dà mí ẹ mọ̀ pé inú wa dùn ní Dominion lápá àbí amúlòdùn inú mi dùn ó ṣe inú yín dùn jẹ́ padà sọ́dọ̀ Ajíbádé Túnjí fine boy.
Fine boy o ṣeun aṣọ́nibárẹ́ inú mi dùn ìmọ̀ béèrè ìbéèrè kan ló máa wá sọ́kàn mi tí n bá gbọ́ tẹ́ bá ń sọ nípa tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lágbo ọlẹ̀ kí wọ́n mọ gbégbé ayé wọn kí ló kàn yín pẹ̀lú ìgbé ayé wọn.
ẹ rí i pé tó bá ti kan apá tó bá ti kán símú yóò kan ẹsẹ̀ ìyẹn là ń pè gbogbo tó bá ti ń lọ lágbàmúlòdùn àjàrà lé gbọ́ iṣẹ́ tiwa ni wọ́n ní àwọn oníròyìn ẹsẹ̀ wọn gùn ju ẹsẹ̀ kò fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ gbogbo tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní lérò lẹ́yìn òde àjàrà lé gbọ́ tó bá kù díẹ̀ káàtó a tún fi kọ́ ara lé lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ká lè mọ̀ pé lágbọ̀n èyí ó kù díẹ̀ káàtó ojúmọ̀ kásì làwọn tá à ń sọ yìí náà àwọn náà wọ́n bá ti. Pasuma àti Òṣùpá ṣé kìí ṣe pé wọ́n fẹ́ fi wá pawó torí pé agbóngbà kan ìgbà Tẹ̀bínísà Òbí àti Sànní nígbà Kollington pẹ̀lú Barrister a rí i pé àsìkò tí wọ́n bá ń fà á Táyìnlá Ọmọwúrà ńgbà náà tó bá bú olówó yọ̀ tó lówó yọ̀ náà bú rẹ́kọ̀dù wọn máa tà ṣé ìṣepá wọn aráàbí ìfẹ́ fi wá máa pawó. ṣé Túnjí tábánikà wò dáadáa nígbà kan náà kì í tún ṣe Òṣùpá àti Currency nìkan tábáwo Wizkid àti Davido náà ẹ rí i pé ìmáàmù sọ kí ní kọ̀ọ̀kọ̀ gbà àwọn ojúmọ̀ káyìí bàbá ṣe ń jà nítorí orúkọ wọn àkáǹtì wọn ń kún sí o kà mọ́ gbàgbé àwa tá a ṣe ń ṣe bàbá kíyèsára láti lẹ́yìn wọn ló máa ń mú wàhálà gúngùn mú wá ẹ bá gbọ́dọ̀ ayé Currency ó ní owó táwọn èèyàn ń fà í gan ó ní òun ò mú ọ̀rọ̀ tó bá ó dá ẹjọ́ ibi tó ń ti bú ẹnìkàlùkù ẹ bá ṣe ń jà sí ó yá kò yẹ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀ àkáǹtì wọn ń kún àkáǹtì àwọn tó ń jà ń dúró ni a rí i pé agbámúlòdùn oríṣiríṣi òun ló wà ń bẹ tí wàá ní pé ká fi tó aráàlú létí kó mọ̀ lọ kọjá ara a ti wà lójúde amúlòdùn báyìí ní wàá dùn.
o ṣeun ṣe èmi gan bí mo ti ṣe rí agbádá rẹ àti ọwọ́ ọjọ́ tó bá wọlé mo ti rí i pé ìlú dùn gan lónìí.
ó yẹ ká lè sọ kankan pa agbádá nǹkan.
nípa agbádá mo wọ̀
agbádá nǹkan.
agbádá amúlùdùn náà ni.
agbádá amúlùdùn ni.
àdúpẹ́ fọlọ́ lójúde Dominion.
bí bùnmi náà ṣe wé gèlè amúlùdùn èmi náà wá gẹ̀fìlà amúlùdùn ayé pé ìlú tún dùn báyìí nísìnyí lójúde Dominion ayọ̀ náà ni a mọ̀ rí lójúde Dominion ni aṣìwà tẹ̀ ń wò wá kétékété báyìí àdúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run ọba tún jẹ́ àfẹsẹ̀ rájò díẹ̀ náà ká tó tẹ̀síwájú ká tó kán lu abala tó kàn ẹ jẹ́ àfẹsẹ̀ rájò díẹ̀ náà.
Don come bambari biti orin mo pe de eri boya eya ma mu bigi don come bambari biti orin mo pe de eri boya eya ma mu jo rẹpẹtẹ. Ayọ̀ ọlọ́pọ̀n lórin wa o many people dey talk say ayọ̀ ọlọ́pọ̀n lórin wa o many people dey talk say.
lójúde Dominion ni a wà tí ẹ̀ ń wò wá ketekete nílé iṣẹ́ móhùnmáwòrán Dominion nílùú Ìbàdàn ìyá gan kú láwa o tí à ń dábí ẹdun tí à ń rọ̀ bí òwe nípele tá a kán sí báyìí àti gbàlejò àlejò wa náà tá a sì gbà lónìí wọ́n ti wà ń kalẹ̀ pẹ̀lú wa tí àjọ máa fomi jomi tó rọ̀ lórí kókó ọ̀rọ̀ kan tí yóò ṣe gbogbo àwùjọ láǹfààní lórí kókó ọ̀rọ̀ kan tí yóò ràn tarúgbó tomidan tara alé tara oko lójú ọ̀rọ̀ kan tí yóò ràn wá lọ́wọ́ torí ọjọ́ iwájú wa àlejò wa náà ni ọ̀gbẹ́ni Abíọ́dún Adéníyì Adéòtí àmàkí ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò yìí.
ẹ kú ìyálẹ̀ táwọn lóòtù.
àdúpẹ́ àkú ìlú wa yìí.
àkú Nàìjíríà.
bóò ni gbogbo nǹkan.
adúpẹ́ lọ́dọ̀ Ọlọ́run.
Ọlọ́run máa ṣàánú wa.
ìbéèrè lájà sí.
àní dààmú.
àmṣe.
bí tá a fẹ́ yẹ̀wò lónìí ni a rí i pé àwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ilé ẹ̀kọ́ alákọ̀ọ́bẹ̀rẹ̀ tó fi dé girama wọ́n mọ̀ tí ń wẹgbẹ́ òkùnkùn kì í ṣe pé wọ́n wá ń wẹgbẹ́ òkùnkùn nìkan àwọn náà ti ń mùmùkúmu wọ́n ti ń fàfàkùfà a wá rí wípé kékeré ni wọ́n là.
ìjọba àti taládàáni ló ti ń wáyé ó sì fẹ́ẹ́ dàbí ẹni wípé ìgbésẹ̀ tó yẹ kó ti ọ̀dọ̀ ìjọba wá ẹjẹ́ àti ibilẹ̀bẹ̀ mọ́ọ̀lẹ́jẹ́ lówùúrọ̀ tòní. Báwo ni ẹgbẹ́ òkùnkùn gan ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ láwọn ilé ẹ̀kọ́ gíga láti mọ̀ wípé wọ́n ti ń ṣe ẹgbẹ́ òkùnkùn ẹ jẹ́ wá sí bí eléyìí kí n lè tún là á hàn yín sà. Mo lóore ọ̀fẹ́ láti wà ní ilé ẹ̀kọ́ girama kan níbi tí mo ti lọ rèé pín nǹkan fún àwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́. Mo ti wá pín tán mo jókòó sí abẹ́ igi níta nígbà táwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tí sùkúù ti parí nígbà tí ilé ẹ̀kọ́ yẹn tó ti parí àwọn ọmọ yẹn wá ń ṣe ìpàdé lẹ́yìn tí ẹ̀kọ́ ti parí níta ni wọ́n ti ń ṣe ìpàdé lára àwọn tí wọ́n fi bẹ̀rẹ̀ ìpàdé bí àwọn nǹkan tí wọ́n lè fi dára wọn lára yá táwọn eléèbó ń pè ní ìbéèrè tá a máa ń ta síra ẹni quiz ó ní wọ́n wá ń bi wọ́n pé who was the first person to introduce fraternity wọ́n dárúkọ àwọn èèyàn ńláńlá nígbà tí wọ́n dárúkọ wọ́n ní who was the first kìnnìkan Wọlé Ṣóyínká who was the first Aníkúlá wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní dárúkọ àwọn èèyàn ńláńlá ìyẹn ni wọ́n fi ń ṣe ìdíje ìgbáradì fún àwọn ọmọ tó ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ wọlé láti mọ̀ wípé ẹgbẹ́ táwọn fẹ́ ṣe yìí o kìí ṣàwọn làwọn ò kọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ àwọn baba ńlá wọn ti wà ń bẹ̀ ẹjá wá wò ó ẹgbẹ́ òkùnkùn ní ilé ẹ̀kọ́ alákọ̀ọ́bẹ̀rẹ̀ àti ilé ẹ̀kọ́ girama bó o ní tá a bá ní ká filẹ̀ ká mọ̀ wò báyìí.
ẹ ṣeun wọn lóòtú àti gbogbo àwọn tó ń wò wá àtàwọn tó ń gbọ́ wá lákọ̀ọ́kọ́ mo kí iléeṣẹ́ Dominion TV Dominion ni n tó dé tó sì gbalẹ̀.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
iwájú lọ́pọ̀ ibi tí yóò máa rí sí o.
àṣẹ o.
mo fẹ́ ṣe rí àwọn àgbà ní ọ̀rọ̀ yìí ó tójú sí mi. wọ́n tún wá sọ wípé wọ́n ní amúkùn ẹrù ẹ wọ́ pé òkè lẹ́ ń wò ẹ wò sàlẹ̀ àti bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe rí inú ẹbí tó ń kálukú ti jáde àní iṣẹ́ ṣe títí dé iléèwé ní iṣẹ́ ṣe ìjọba ní iṣẹ́ tiẹ̀ láti ṣe gẹ́gẹ́ bí community àdúgbò tí gbogbo wa ń gbé tán bí wa sí àní iṣẹ́ ṣe ilé religious homes wa. Christian ni o Muslim ni o àti ẹ̀sìn àbáláyé a ní iṣẹ́ ṣe tó pọ̀ màá ti bí ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ ó jẹun tó bani nínú jẹ́ láti rí wípé in tó yẹ kí technology kó mú wá gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìdàgbàsókè púpọ̀ àwọn ọ̀dọ́ ayé ìsìn ọ̀nà òdì là ń lò sí ẹ wo orú tàn tẹ́ ni wọ́n sọ báwọn lágbájá báyìí ló bẹ̀rẹ̀ àwọn tàmọ̀dún báyìí ló bẹ̀rẹ̀ ǹjẹ́ báwọn ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ nìyẹn wọ́n sì tún níbo lórí ẹni tí ó bá borin jẹ́ kò ní kọ́ bí olórin ṣe kọ́ ṣe rí mo fẹ́ kọ́kọ́ pe àkíyèsí àwọn òbí wa àwa tá a jóbi àtàlágbàtọ́ ṣe rí tó bá ti di pé a bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ra special center
fún
ìdánwò àwọn ọmọ lọ́mọ tí ó kàwé ṣùgbọ́n a fẹ́ kó ní result.
àwa dọ́gbọ́n sí. tá a bá ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ a ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí fún wọn ní àkàsọ̀ wípé wọ́n lè. kò sí tí wọ́n wá tí wọ́n ò lè rí.
kò sí tí wọ́n bá wá tí wọ́n ò ní rí. àwọn eléyìí dẹ̀rẹ̀ yóò pagidínà ìdàgbàsókè tó lóòrè fún orílẹ̀-èdè àti fún ọjọ́ ọ̀la àwọn ọmọ ẹ̀.
ẹ ṣeun ẹ dákun mo fọwọ́ àtọmọdé lẹ́nu Yorùbá máa ń ní ẹṣin iwájú ni tẹ̀yìn wò sáré ṣé kì í ṣe wípé ẹṣin iwájú làwọn ẹṣin ẹ̀yìn ń wò torí pé bàbá tí ń fagbó bó lọmọ òṣè ní fagbó bàbá tó wà ní ẹgbẹ́ òkùnkùn bó lọmọ òṣè ní wà ní ẹgbẹ́ òkùnkùn ẹ dákun ẹ bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ lórí ọ̀rọ̀
ṣé bí àwọn ọmọ ẹ̀ gan ni àbáwọn tó jẹ́ bí àgbàlagbà fún wọn àbí tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ láwùjọ.
bára àwájú bá ṣe rí lórí ẹ̀yìn rí o.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni
ṣe rí ní gbogbo ìgbà òbí náà lákọ̀ọ́kọ́ tó ráwọn ló pé àwọn ọmọ ìwálé ayé iṣẹ́ tí wọ́n ní í ṣe níbẹ̀ ni pé Yorùbá ní tọ́ ọmọ Bíbélì wí Kùránì wí ó ní tọ́ ọmọ rẹ̀ fi lé ọ̀nà tó tọ́ torí pé tán bá dàgbà wọn ò ní lè yí kúrò ńbẹ̀ ṣe rí tó bá ti di wípé owó ipò là ń wá káàkiri tó jẹ́ pé gbogbo tó jẹ́ ìwà tó tọ́ àti tó yẹ a ò fi lé àwọn ọmọ yìí lọ́wọ́ a jẹ́ kí wọ́n mọ tó tọ́ àti tó yẹ bí wọ́n ṣe lè bá àgbàlagbà sọ̀rọ̀ bí wọ́n ṣe lè rìn pẹ̀lú àwọn tó jẹ́ akẹgbẹ́ wọn ẹ púpọ̀ àwọn ìwàkiwà yìí wọ́n ń kọ àwòkọ́ṣe tí wọ́n rí èyí tí wọ́n bá láàrin àdúgbò tí wọ́n bá lọ́wọ́ àwọn òbí tó bí wọn àti àwọn tó tọ́ wọn àti wípé ṣe rí tó bá di wípé èèyàn ń dá ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ tó lòdì sí òfin tí ò bá sí ìjìyà tó tọ́ wọ́n á tọ́ka sí pé ńgbà ní ìgbà tí lágbájá ṣe kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ sí wọn ṣe báwọn náà ló ń dẹni tí wọ́n wà ní ipò ọlá ní ìsìn so exchange of values lèmi kọ́kọ́ rí wípé ó jẹ́ ohun àkọ́kọ́ tó jẹ́ pé ẹbí àti ìjọba nílò láti ṣiṣẹ́ lé lórí guardian counselors gbogbo schools ló wà.
ṣé wọ́n ṣe wà.
wọ́n ti wà káàkiri schools ṣùgbọ́n ìṣòro tá a ní ni pé dídọ́pọ̀ gbà wọ́n ní ọmọ ọ̀sìn wọ́n ní ehoro ọ̀sìn ajá ọ̀sìn ló mọ ehoro ọ̀sìn ló mọ̀ lé ṣùgbọ́n ìdí ibẹ̀ ni pé tá a bá tètè padà sẹ́sẹ̀ àárọ̀ tó fi àyè gba ìkọ́ni tó pé àti tó yẹ ẹ̀kọ́ tó yẹ káwọ́ bá a ṣe gbé pẹ̀lú ènìyàn láwùjọ bí ìgbà pé èèyàn jókòó lórí
ẹtùbọn ẹ jẹ́ àwò kínní kan ṣẹ́rígbà wá wà ní kékeré tá a wà nílé ẹ̀kọ́ girama àmọ́ figagbága lórí pé ìwé wo ni wọ́n ti kà láàmú parọ̀wé èmi ti ka ìwé báyìí mo ti ka ìwé báyìí Shakespeare mo ti ka eléyìí nǹkan tá a máa ń ṣe lọ́dọ̀ tiwa nìyẹn láàmú yáwé ara wa ògbójú ọdẹ inú gbóòórùn mọ̀lẹ́ ṣé wọ́n ti ka èmi náà ti ka ṣùgbọ́n lóde òní ẹ jẹ́ á wo nǹkan tí wàhálà ìmọ̀ ẹ̀rọ tó kó bá wa ẹ jẹ́ ká wo social media tó kó bá wa ẹ jẹ́ ká wo ọ̀rọ̀ àwọn ọmọ kékeré kan tí wọ́n mú ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn gbà kan tí wọ́n fi ọ̀rẹ́bìnrin wọn tí wọ́n gé orí rẹ̀ tí wọ́n fi ṣògùn owó ọmọ kékeré irun tó sọ ni pé ó ní lójú Facebook lòun ti kọ́ iṣẹ́ àǹfààní ṣé bá àǹfààní ló yẹ kó jẹ́ fún wa àǹfààní ló yẹ ó jẹ́ fún wa ṣùgbọ́n ibi ló ń fún wa báyìí àwọn ọmọ tó wà nílé ẹ̀kọ́ ga yunifásitì gan wọn ò lọ sí library àwọn èèyàn lọ library mọ́ kò sí tẹ́ ń wá lórí ẹ̀rọ ayélujára ìlérí bá ti tẹ̀ yóò ti hàn kí ni a ṣe lórí eléyìí ìmọ̀ràn wo lẹ́ fún ìjọba.
ṣe rí tó bá ó lòun rí lórí Facebook ṣùgbọ́n èèyàn ló lọ bá tó ní kó lọ mú èèyàn ẹgbẹ́ ẹ̀ wá
bẹ́ẹ̀ni
àbí
bẹ́ẹ̀ni
tóun ò bá ní làákàyè àbí tí làákàyè rẹ̀ tó bá jọ́nà ibi ló lọ ó yẹ kí irú ẹni tó lọ bá tí kì í bá ṣe pé òun náà jẹ́ àwòkọ́ṣe ibi ó yẹ kó lọ́gbà àtinúdá láti lè sọ wípé kó dọ́gbọ́n gba àdírẹ́sì ilé ibi tí wọ́n ti wá kó dẹ̀ dọ́gbọ́n tàn wọ́n ẹgbà mí ẹ wá àtẹ́sọ fẹ́ lómi pé ẹ ti mọ̀ pé ibi tó ń rìn ọ̀nà búburú ẹ ti lọ pàdé ẹ̀ wájú débi wípé ẹ ní jẹ́ kí n tó fẹ́ ṣe yẹn kó ṣeé ṣe ṣe rí tèmi kọ́kọ́ wò bẹ́ẹ̀ ni wípé ẹ worú ìgbà tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ wọ́n ní wọ́n ń dárúkọ Wọlé Ṣóyínká àwọn tí wá nígbàgbọ́ wọ́n ti gbàgbé pé Wọlé Ṣóyínká àwọn tán jọ lọ skul nígbà kan náà particularly ní government college wọ́n ní tán bá gbọ́ludé ìwé tí wọ́n kà the next
semester session tó ń bọ̀
Wọlé Ṣóyínká ti parí ẹ̀ nínú ọludé òun káàkiri lọ máa ṣeré káàkiri ìwé ló máa kà wọn ò rí yẹn gẹ́gẹ́ bí àwòkọ́ṣe bọ̀ pé àwọn ní ẹgbẹ́ òkùnkùn àwọn ló introduce ẹgbẹ́ òkùnkùn kọ́ ni àwọn introduce ńgbà yẹn ẹgbẹ́ tí wọ́n introduce ńgbà yẹn ni wípé bóò là á ṣe é papọ̀ pẹ̀lú ọwọ́ kan láti sọ wípé ó dáa àwọn nǹkan báyìí nílé ẹ̀kọ́ yìí nínú ẹ̀kọ́ wa ó kù díẹ̀ nígbà tá a rí pẹ̀lú torílẹ̀-èdè ní àjìjàgbara pé báwo la ṣe tí ìyà òfin ní jẹ akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tá a sì fi wúlò fún ìlú but àwọn wọ́n ti yí padà
wọ́n ti sọ di
nǹkan míì tẹkinọ́lọ́jì ní ìsìn tí táyé ti lùgà àwọn tó burú jù ń bẹ ní púpọ̀ àwọn ọ̀dọ́ wa ni wọ́n wá múlò bí wọ́n sì ní ìlú tí ò sófin
ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ òsì.
ṣé mọ̀ páwọn òbí mi máa ń ra ẹ̀rọ ìléwọ́ tó le fáwọn ọmọ àsìkò ti tó kódà ohun tí ọmọ ń wò lójú ẹ̀rọ onímọ̀wòrán ni o ohun tí ọmọ ń wò nínú fóònù ó yẹ ká máa yẹ̀ wò láti kékeré.
Túnjí sórí àsìkò tá a wà yìí àwọn ọmọ tá à ń bí Yorùbá bọ̀ wọ́n ní ọmọ táyé bí láyé ń pọ̀n ọ̀rọ̀ ti kọjá pé ká mọ iye wọ́n mọ bọ́n ṣe lè fi nǹkan pamọ́ fún àwọn òbí àmọ́ gẹ́gẹ́ bó ṣe sọ àti kékeré ló yẹ ká ti fi ìbẹ̀rù Ọlọ́run ká ti fi kọ́ àwọn ọmọ yìí ẹ jẹ́ kí n tún wá padà sí orí ìbéèrè mi ẹ jẹ́ ká wo ìlànà ètò ẹ̀kọ́ gan ìlànà ètò ẹ̀kọ́ tó ń bẹ́lẹ̀ ṣẹ́rí sí àwọn ọmọ tá à ń sọ ẹ̀ tí wọ́n bá gbé wàhálà dé wọ́n máa bá sùkúù kínní wọ́n máa bá kejì jà wọ́n máa lé òkúta wọ́n bà nǹkan jẹ́ gidi gan tá ẹ bá wá wọnú ọgbà ilé ẹ̀kọ́ yìí ẹ rí wípé kò tiẹ̀ sí òrùlé nínú yàrá àkàwé àga tó wà ń bẹ̀ àwọn pákó tó ti tẹ́ ẹ bá wọ inú yàrá táwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ yìí tí wọ́n ti ń kàwé ó jẹ́ ohun tó ṣe ní láàánú gidi gan tó sì jẹ́ pé mo wá ṣe àkíyèsí pé ó dàbí ẹni pé ìjọba ti wá fẹ́ fi iṣẹ́ ìdàgbàsókè àwọn ilé ẹ̀kọ́ yìí wọ́n ti fẹ́ tì sọ́rùn àwọn tó ti kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ gboyè tí wọ́n máa ń pè láwọn alumni àwọn yẹn ni wọ́n sọ pé àwọn sẹ́ẹ̀tì ọdún báyìí o àwa gbága àwa ṣe kíláàsì kan àmọ́ tẹ́ ẹ bá wọnú ọgbà táwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ yìí ti ń kàwé
ibẹ̀ gan-an ti fi wà ìkà kọ́ wọn.
ó jẹ́ ohun tó burú jáì
nígbà akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ bá ń jókòó lórí igi lórí òkúta tí ń gbọ́ ẹ̀kọ́ tí òjò ń rọ̀ wọnú ilé tí òòrùn ń pa wọ́n.
a sì ní àwọn alábòójútó fún ètò ẹ̀kọ́ a sì ní ìjọba ẹ sì ní ìlú tí ò sófin ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ò sí ńbẹ̀.
ṣe rí tá a bá ní tara wa ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀kọ́ education kò sí ìjọba kan tó lè dá ṣe
síjọba kan tó lè dá sí.
apá àwọn òka.
àwọn Awólọ́wọ̀ máa ṣètò ẹ̀kọ́ ọ̀fẹ́.
ṣe rí a gbọ́dọ̀ wo àwọn nǹkan kan ká nà ń bẹ̀ dáadáa. population láyé ìgbà àwọn bàbá Awólọ́wọ̀ ó yàtọ̀ sí tìsín yìí. ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì ibẹ̀ ni wípé ní tí wọ́n ti kọ́ nígbà yẹn ilé tán ti kọ́ 30 years ago tá a bá fi wé tìsín nígbà kan tó o bá fẹ́ yọ blọọkì tó wọ́n ìkọ́lé nínú àpò sìmẹ́ǹtì kan àti yẹ̀pẹ̀ tí wọ́n lò kò gbúdọ̀ kọjá 25. ní ìsìn Standard Organization of Nigeria ẹgẹgẹ bí wọ́n iṣẹ́ kí náà ń ṣe. nínú sìmẹ́ǹtì àpò kan ní ìsìn wọ́n yọ blọọkì 40 wọ́n yọ 45 ẹ̀wà ní kí lè kó stand. ìtẹ̀mí rí ń bẹ̀ gangan ni wípé bó ṣe wà ìjọba gbúdọ̀ fi owó tó tó tí ó tọ́ sí ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀kọ́ kí wọ́n wá gbé sí ìpele méjì ọ̀tọ̀ ní infrastructure ìyẹn ní tá a fojú rí báyìí ògiri ni o kíláàsì ni o àga àjókòó ni o èkejì ibẹ̀ ni wípé ìyẹn ní hardware software ńkọ́ ìyẹn làwọn tí ó lò ó yẹ kí òfin wà ní gbogbo àwọn schools wa ọmọ tó bá ba àga kan jẹ kọ́rọ̀ òbí rẹ̀ kó ra méjì wá.
ẹ mọ̀ bínú torí àsìkò wa mo sì fẹ́ kí a rí i pé a yanjú ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kó tó di pé a mọ̀ lọ. nínú ìlànà ètò ẹ̀kọ́ tí wọ́n aṣàpè pé ilé ẹ̀kọ́ ṣé ìwé nìkan ni wọ́n lọ ń kọ́ àwọn ọmọ ni àṣà ìṣe àtiwà ọmọlúàbí ńkọ́ a ní àwọn olùkọ́ tó jẹ́ pé iṣẹ́ táwọn kan lè gbà ní wípé kí wọ́n máa ṣe ìdámọ̀ràn tá à ń pè ní guidance kó máa tọ́ àwọn ọmọ ìsọ́nà àmọ́ ó ṣe ní láàánú wípé iṣẹ́ yìí ó dàbí ẹni pé wọn ò mọṣẹ́ wọn gẹ́gẹ́ bí iṣẹ́ o ọ̀pọ̀ àwọn olùkọ́ tá a sì ní gan dáadáa wì báyìí ó ní ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wọn báwo leléyìí báwo ni ò ṣe ní pagidínà ìdàgbàsókè àti ìwà ọmọlúàbí torí pé ilé ẹ̀kọ́ kò yẹ kó jẹ́ pé ẹ̀kọ́ ìwé nìkan òun ni wọ́n mọ̀ fi kọ́ wọn.
ní ṣókí.
mo rò pé ìjọba àti àwọn òbí àti alágbàtọ́ àti àwọn ọmọ gan tó ń kọ́ ẹ̀kọ́ ó yẹ kán wo àwòkọ́ṣe èyí tó dára ni láìsí wípé o kọ́ ẹ̀kọ́ tó yanjú láìsí pé o bọ̀wọ̀ fún òfin láìsí discipline kò sí irú ìwé tó lè mọ̀ kò sí irú certificate tó wà lọ́wọ́
kò lè nítumọ̀
ó kàn rí wípé kò nítumọ̀ kankan so ìfẹ́ràn wá wípé ó yẹ kí àjọṣepọ̀ tó lóòrè gbogbo ọ̀tá ìpè ní guidance counselors yìí ó yẹ kí ìjọba kó máa tún wọn ní ẹ̀kọ́ lóòrèkóòrè.
ẹ ṣeun alàgbà
ẹ ṣeun dákun Túnjí ẹ jẹ́ á sáré wo fọ́nrán yìí ọmọ ilé ẹ̀kọ́ girama kan ní ìlú Ìbàdàn níyìn òun ni mọ́bìnú ńgbà tó bá di ọjọ́ míì ẹ mọ̀ lórí ọ̀fẹ́ láti wo fọ́nrán ọ̀hún.
fọ́nrán yẹn ó ṣe pàtàkì káwọ́ á tún wò ń gbà mí ọ̀gbẹ́ni Abíọ́dún Adéníyì Adéòsì ẹ̀mà inú wa má dùn tá a pè ní tẹ́ ẹ jẹ́ wà àwọn máa rí yín báwò àjíǹde ara ọmọ jẹ́ ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ sí ilé náà kí a tún fẹsẹ̀ rájú díẹ̀ kó tó ti pa á tẹ̀síwájú lórí ètò yìí ẹ kú kalẹ̀ ẹ ṣeun tẹ́ ẹ wò wà tẹ́
ó dẹrù fọlọ́gbọ́n. ìlú oríta o ìlú àlàáfíà mo ní tẹ́ ẹ bá débẹ̀ ẹ bá mi kí wọn o gbogbo wa la ó fayọ̀ délé gbogbo wa la ó fayọ̀ délé wa mo ní tẹ́ ẹ bá rí o ẹ bá ń kàwé ròyìn o ọmọge awẹ́lẹ̀ wa tó ń dá wa lọ́rùn o ilé owó ni ó wọ̀ ṣáyà ilé ọlá ni ó wọ̀ ṣáyà o. Ṣèbádé orí ọkọ ni wọ́n obìnrin tó níwà tó lẹ́wà ìwúrí òbí ni wọ́n máa jẹ́ o mọ́bìnrin tó gbẹ́kọ̀ tó.
Ọlọ́run ọba ibi Ọlọ́run wà lọ́wọ́ dé lónìí lórí ètò yìí ibi tá a rí mọ́ ni lónìí ẹjá tún pàdé lọ́la láṣẹ Èdùmàrè àwọn ẹkẹgbẹ́ wa kan tún bọ̀ lọ́la tẹ́tún pàdé lójúde Dominion títí ọ̀la Adétúnjì Àjíbádé lórúkọ tèmi.
kò tẹ wo lójúde Dominion lónìí yòókù tún di lọ́la láṣẹ Ọlọ́run ọba.
To Dominion Broadcast House, your channel of choice, with the best stories and the best songs, where inspiration meets entertainment.
From powerful stories to thought-provoking conversations, we bring you content that informs, entertains, and transforms.
Catch top-notch entertainment, including movies, talk shows, and insightful programs curated just for you.
Looking for cutting-edge documentaries, exclusive interviews, and lifestyle shows that matter? We have got it all.
Stay ahead with the latest trends, inspiring success stories, and must-watch TV moments only on Dominion Television.
Join a community that celebrates excellence, innovation, and African storytelling at its finest.
Don't miss out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on all our social media platforms and watch Dominion Television today.
Good afternoon. This is the news at 1 on Dominion Television, Ibadan. First, the headlines. Police fire tear gas at protesters in Port Harcourt. Trump calls on Europe to pay yearly reparations to United States. Kane names 2 players not good enough for Manchester United after City draw. Now the news in detail. Operatives of the Rivers State Police Command this morning fired tear gas at protesters in Port Harcourt, the state capital. Protesters had converged at the Isaacboro Park when the officers stormed the area. Protest was organized by the Take It Back movement over the declaration of emergency rule in Rivers State. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Ebetokun, has withdrawn the invitation extended to the Emir of Kano, Alhaji Muhammadu Sanusi. Ebetokun has directed the Kano State Command of the Force to obtain Sanusi's statement regarding the incident. The directive was issued through the police force spokesperson, Olunloyo Adejobi. The emir had been summoned over an alleged murder during the last Sunday's Salah festivities in Kano. The incident occurred after Emir Sanusi returned home from Eid prayers. He had gone to the Eid prayer ground on foot, but returned to the palace riding a horse. On the foreign scene, Zimbabwe's President Emerson Mnangagwa has said that he will suspend all tariffs on goods imported from the United States. Disclosed this in a statement on X, describing the measure as an attempt to build a mutually beneficial and positive relationship with the Trump administration. His announcement came days after United States President Donald Trump imposed an 18% duty on Zimbabwean exports to his country. United States of America President Donald Trump has called on Europe to pay yearly reparations to the United States. He disclosed this in an interview video released recently. He hinted that his tariff announcement has attracted investment negotiations to the United States. Trump administration had announced a 25% tariff on all automobile imports, which became a major blow to European countries. China and Cambodia have held joint military exercises yesterday at a newly expanded naval base on the coast of the Gulf of Thailand, a facility the United States worries could become a military outpost for the Chinese. Conducted one day after the expanded Ream naval base was inaugurated, warships from both countries conducted drills, including formation maneuvering. Chinese military experts have said that in the future, such exercises will most likely become more frequent, involving not only naval but also land and air elements, and would help safeguard peace and stability in the South China Sea. Talking sports, Manchester United legend Roy Keane has named 2 players who were not good enough for the club after the Premier League 0-0 draw with Manchester City yesterday. Recall that both teams failed to score at Old Trafford as they got a point each after the encounter. Keane expressed concern over Manchester United's lack of progress after the match. The Irishman said the Manchester United manager Ruben Amorim's current options up front, Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee, were not good enough for the Premier League giants. You can visit us on our website to listen to us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast and X at Dominion Cast. That ends the news at 1. I am Uzams Okechukwu.
akínyìn ẹ kú dédé àsìkò yìí ìròyìn ọjọ́ kan rí ló ń dé sí ojúwòrán yín láti lè ṣe móhùnmáwòrán ti Dominion. Olúbùnmi Táyọ̀kẹ́ ni ó mú wá sí ojú ìwòrán yín. Ṣáájú ẹ gbọ́ àwọn kókó tó wà nínú ìròyìn náà. Àwọn ọlọ́pàá fi afẹ́fẹ́ tajútajú tú àwọn tó ń fẹ̀hónú ká ní ìlú Port Harcourt. Trump ké sí ilẹ̀ Europe láti máa san àjẹmọ́nú owó ọdọọdún nínú àwọn ọjà tí wọ́n gbé wọlé sílẹ̀ Amẹ́ríkà. Lágbo eré ìdárayá, Kane dárúkọ àwọn agbábọ́ọ̀lù méjì eléyìí tí wọ́n dára tó lẹ́yìn ìdíje nínú ikọ̀ agbábọ́ọ̀lù ti Manchester United níbi tí wọ́n ti gbá ọ̀mì ayò. Ní báyìí, ẹ gbọ́ ìròyìn náà lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́. Iléeṣẹ́ ọlọ́pàá nípínlẹ̀ Rivers ló ti pa láṣẹ lówùúrọ̀ yìí níbi tí wọ́n ti fi afẹ́fẹ́ tajútajú láti fi tú àwọn olùfẹ̀hónúhàn ká ní Port Harcourt tí ṣe olúùlú ìpínlẹ̀ Rivers. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìròyìn ọ̀hún ṣe wáyé, àwọn olùfẹ̀hónúhàn ọ̀hún ni wọ́n parapọ̀ ní ibùdó Isaac nígbà tí àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ agbófinró ọ̀hún tí wọ́n ya bo agbègbè náà. Ìfẹ̀hónú ọ̀hún ló wáyé láti ọ̀dọ̀ ikọ̀ Take It Back lórí bí wọ́n ti ṣe kéde ìlú òfararọ ní ìpínlẹ̀ Rivers. Rípẹ́tọ̀ àgbà yanyan fáwọn ọlọ́pàá nílẹ̀ yìí Káyọ̀dé Ẹgbẹ́tókun ló ti gba ìwé tí wọ́n fi pe Emir Kano Alhaji Muhammad Sanusi láti wá wí tẹnu rẹ̀ ohun tó mọ̀ nípa ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ tó wáyé ní ìpínlẹ̀ Kano. Àmọ́ ṣá Ẹgbẹ́tókun ló ti wá pa á láṣẹ fún ẹ̀ka iléeṣẹ́ ọlọ́pàá ti ìpínlẹ̀ ọ̀hún láti rí i dájú pé wọ́n gba ọ̀rọ̀ àkọsílẹ̀ látẹnu Sanusi nípa ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ náà. Àṣẹ ọ̀hún ni wọ́n fi síta nípasẹ̀ alukoro fún iléeṣẹ́ ọlọ́pàá Olúmúyìwá Adéjọbí. Emir ó ní wọ́n ti fi ìwé pè lórí ẹ̀sùn tó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú ìwà ìpànìyàn tó wáyé ní ọjọ́ ìsinmi tó kọjá lásìkò pọ̀pọ̀ ṣìnṣìn ọdún Sálà ní ìpínlẹ̀ náà. Ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ ọ̀hún ni wọ́n ní ó wáyé lẹ́yìn tí Emir Sanusi tó padà lọ sí ilé láti yíìdì tó ti lọ ṣe àdúrà lẹ́ni tó jẹ́ wípé níṣe ló fi ẹsẹ̀ lọ sí yíìdì láti lọ gbàdúrà àmọ́ tó jẹ́ pé níṣe ló gun ẹṣin padà sílé. Nínú ìròyìn ilẹ̀ òkèrè, ìròyìn tó ń ti ilẹ̀ Zimbabwe jáde ti sọ di mímọ̀ wípé ààrẹ ilẹ̀ náà Emmerson Mnangagwa ló ti sọ di mímọ̀ wípé òun ó so gbogbo owó eléyìí tí wọ́n gbà lórí àwọn ọjà tí wọ́n ń kó wọlé láti ilẹ̀ Amẹ́ríkà lọ sí ilẹ̀ Zimbabwe ìrọ̀nà. Ó ṣiṣọ́ lójú ọ̀rọ̀ yìí nínú àtẹ̀jáde tó fi síta ní ojú òpó alátagbà X níbi tó ti ṣàpèjúwe ìgbésẹ̀ yìí gẹ́gẹ́ bí ara ọ̀nà tó ń ti gbìyànjú láti jẹ́ kí ìbáṣepọ̀ tó lóòrìn kó wà láàrin ilẹ̀ Zimbabwe àti ilẹ̀ Amẹ́ríkà pẹ̀lú ìṣàkóso Donald Trump. Ìkéde yìí ló wáyé lẹ́yìn ọjọ́ mélòó kan eléyìí tí ààrẹ ilẹ̀ Amẹ́ríkà Donald Trump tó gbé gbèdéke owó ìdá 18 lé àwọn ọjà èyí tí ilẹ̀ Zimbabwe tó ń gbé wọlé sí ilẹ̀ Amẹ́ríkà. Túwọ̀n nínú ìròyìn tó ń ti ilẹ̀ Europe jáde, gẹ́gẹ́ bí ààrẹ ilẹ̀ Amẹ́ríkà Donald Trump bó ti ṣe ké sí ilẹ̀ Europe láti máa san àjẹmọ́nú ọdọọdún lórí àwọn ọkọ̀ eléyìí tí wọ́n ń gbé wọlé sílẹ̀ Amẹ́ríkà. Ó sọ lójú ọ̀rọ̀ yìí nínú ìfọ̀rọ̀wérọ̀ tó ṣe lórí fọ́nrán èyí tí wọ́n sì fi síta ní kòpẹ́kòpẹ́ yìí. Ó sọ di mímọ̀ wípé owó èyí tí wọ́n ní kó máa san òun ló ṣe ìkéde wípé yóò ní ṣe pẹ̀lú àwọn tí wọ́n ń dókòwò láti dúnàádúrà pẹ̀lú ilẹ̀ Amẹ́ríkà. Ìṣàkóso Trump ló ti kéde ìdá 25% owó orí fún gbogbo àwọn ọkọ̀ eléyìí tí wọ́n bá ń kó wọlé sí ilẹ̀ Amẹ́ríkà, léyìí tó sì jẹ́ ọ̀kan gbòógì tó bá àwọn orílẹ̀-èdè tó ń bẹ lábẹ́ àjọ ìṣọ̀kan ilẹ̀ Europe. Lágbo eré ìdárayá, ẹni tó ti fìgbà kan rí jẹ́ akọ́nimọ̀ọ́gbá fún ikọ̀ agbábọ́ọ̀lù Manchester United Roy Keane, òun ló ti dárúkọ àwọn agbábọ́ọ̀lù méjì kan eléyìí tó kù díẹ̀ káàtó fún tiwọn tí mùṣemúṣe wọn kò dámúṣe lẹ́yìn tí ikọ̀ agbábọ́ọ̀lù ọ̀hún tí wọ́n gba ọ̀mì ayò nínú ìdíje ìfẹsẹ̀wọnsẹ̀ ti Premier League tó wáyé níbi tí wọ́n ti gbá pẹ̀lú Manchester City lánàá. Ó sọ di mímọ̀ wípé àwọn ikọ̀ méjì yìí ni wọ́n kùnà láti rọ́wọ́ yọ lórí pápá èyí tó wáyé ní pápá ìṣeré ti Old Trafford gẹ́gẹ́ bí àwọn méjèèjì yan akọ agbábọ́ọ̀lù méjèèjì ti ṣe gba ọ̀mì ayò kan náà. Kane ló ti wá ń kọminú báyìí lórí àìní ìlọsíwájú èyí tó ti ń fi ojú wáyé lẹ́yìn ìfẹsẹ̀wọnsẹ̀ náà. ẹ lè darapọ̀ mọ́ ojú ìtàkùn alátagbà wa ní www.dominion.org.ng tàbí kẹ́ ẹ mọ́ gbọ́ wa ketekete. Bákan náà ni ẹ sì tún lè tẹ̀lé wa ní ojú òpó àwọn ìbánidọ́rẹ̀ẹ́ wa ní ìtàkùn ayélujára ti Facebook, Instagram àti TikTok tó fi mọ́ YouTube àti LinkedIn ní @Dominion Broadcast. Bákan náà lẹ tún lè wò wá ní ojú ìtàkùn ti X @DominionCast. Èyí ló pin ìròyìn ọjọ́ kan rí fún ti àsìkò yìí. Ẹ ṣé fún wò tẹ́ ń wò wá. Olúbùnmi Táyọ̀kẹ́ lórúkọ tèmi. Ẹ kú kalẹ̀.
Nightmare. And that's what happened in 1997 when Claude Stanley got sick.